80-foot dock where everybody who lived out in the lagoon tied up. Then they changed it in 1986 or 87 to $130 a month to tie your dinghy to the dock. And then...
at that point, I would have just sold the boat.
Well, I did a few years later, but what happened, friends of mine who were deputy attorney generals for the state of Hawaii ended up sharing an apartment because they could no longer afford an apartment downtown on their own. So here you have deputy attorney generals sharing apartments because the cost of living had gone up so much.
I'll bet you money that the situation is the same, and I'll also bet you money that we're if we're not as close to that now as ever before, we will be shortly. When I was living there, and I'm 21, 22 years old, and enjoying the good life on Oahu in an apartment at Church Lane. I think you know the area down in Wai'ili'ili, right? Not too far away from the University Drive, Pucks Alley, right? So there's a great place to live. There must have been when I got there. There were 5 of us in a 1-bedroom apartment, and it was still tight rent, and we the way that we covered the short between what the 5 of us were able to pony up was that we rented, because we didn't have a car, we rented the parking space that came with the unit to somebody else in the building, and that covered our short.
Now, here's the difference between when you got there and I got there.
Mm-hmm.
I had a 1-bedroom apartment in Waikiki right off Kings Alley, right behind the Hyatt. I was midway between Waikiki Beach and the Alawai Canal, Poakalani Lane. I was right behind the Outrigger East. I paid $400 a month, which included parking and utilities.
It's not terrible.
No, it wasn't. And then I moved because I got a 2-bedroom on Kapiolani right in front of Iolani. I was on the 16th floor overlooking Diamond Head, the golf course, the Alawai, and Waikiki.
Dude, that's crazy bachelor pad stuff you got, Ken. What?
I paid $400 a month for that. But you see, the reason was I didn't pay utilities. I mean, I had to pay my utilities, but it was a 2-bedroom with one of the most spectacular views on Honolulu.
Yeah.
Now, I did a presentation on for one of the hearings about what the rising cost of living. My apartment I was paying $400 a month for in Honolulu now rents for $2,785 a month. 1 bedroom. No, it doesn't include parking and utilities.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what it was. My buddies used to stay in a place back in the old A-frame houses. Another old school piece from back when we used to call it the Guam Daily News. I'll give you another once upon a time.
Over there
Happy Landing Road. You remember the old A-frames?
Yeah. I lived there.
Yeah,
back in the 70s.
I had buddies that lived in there and as well, and I don't know that it cost them any more than about $100 a month to live in one of those A-frame places.
In the early 70s, it was $120 a month.
But what do you suppose? I know firsthand. I know what some of the places are going for. There's a nice 1-bedroom apartment down at the bottom of Happy Landing Road, not much by way of view. That'll set you back about $1,300 a month, and they tell me that's pretty good for the Tumon area. Anyway, 6:54 in the morning, and so you've got a different version of your feed on today, right, on the YouTubes?
Yes, I do.
Did you make my preview yet?
I'm working on that right now. I had to go back and rebuild it because I had a power drop, and when it did during the rendering, it blew all my 164 slides. It blew them all off. So that's why when it rendered, there were no visuals except for the first 4 minutes. Okay,
all right. Well, get me when you can, because I'm kind of curious as to what it is. If you get them within the same time frame as a Luleon Guerrero address, then I can play them. And I'll make that offer to anybody else. I mean, if you got something that's broadcast quality, doesn't have too many 4-letter words, well, actually no 4-letter words in it, but if you can get me some compelling stuff that I can air in about 3.5 or 4 minutes, then yeah, I'd make the offer to give you some airtime. Talk about what you consider to the truth. Ismail says our Facebook Live broadcast was interrupted by the Adelup Anti-Communications Department. Is it Anti-Communications Department? The Operation Suppress the Truth. Oh, well, come on. Come on. Everybody got a different version of the truth. My job is to try to figure out what it is and to make a joke about it.
Well, I will get back to working on my trailer.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you pretty soon.
I'm just wondering how they crawled out from underneath that bus so they could mess with us.
Ooh. Feeling the heat, as they say. Been a couple of other changes in the media game. Might as well take a second to talk about it. And one of them is it's always interesting to see somebody that worked in the media go into the government and then come back into regular media to see how that's going to happen. It doesn't happen. It's not terribly often that it does happen. You got somebody that was in the media as a journalist, news reporter, and they get hired to be somebody's public affairs or public information officer. And in this case, I'm talking about Josh Tykenko, who was working for a long, long time over at PNC, and then took a job. I don't know his whole resume. We're buds. We're mostly run buds. And anyway, took a gig over at the Guam Visitors Bureau. Right, and apparently has now been picked to be the new news director?
News director is.
News director over at the Pacific News Center. You used to have that job.
That's correct.
I remember once upon a time. So, competition, whatever, notwithstanding, Josh is a good friend of mine, and I wish you very, very good luck in that position. Have a good time with it and knock yourself out. Normally, the problem would be, getting that job back in getting that gig back on in the media, and then how everybody else is going to treat you. Chris Barnett and I had an interesting conversation about that, and trying to remember the ones that were able to go back to, quote, go home, as they say, back into the media. And you get to work with one of them. Oyal used to work over at the governor's office in the Calvo administration.
That's correct.
And now she's working with you over at the Guam Daily Post and doing a fantastic job. So the other question is, and most of the guys in the news game that are listening to this right now are going, oh, yeah, Josh, nice guy. Good luck. Congratulations on the new gig. Now, so who's going to do the public information and the public affairs over at the Guam Visitors Bureau? Is there an opening down in that location? And is it possible it's something that I might be interested in? Not that I don't want to do this. No, I love being with you every morning. But it could be that job. Decent salary, lots of travel, and very low expectations of any kind of results whatsoever. That's the perfect government of Guam job that I am looking for. 657 and change, and a bunch of other stuff in the table of contents that we'll get around to doing. Just to let you know what's happening here before too much longer, we will jump into the network and find out what's going on with Fox News Live. The big story here is what the heck happened to the markets. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was trading as much as 900 points below its opening value today. Finally closed. And this is one of those where you look at it and go, maybe they could have closed it earlier and just to shut off the bleeding. But the Dow Jones Industrial Average closed 767 points from the opening bell, 25,717. That's almost a 3% reduction in the value of the Dow Jones Industrial Average, that particular network here. The NASDAQ off by 278 points, and the S&P 500. NASDAQ being off 278 points actually accounts for a higher percentage of loss in the value of that market. So, I mean, if you're comparing apples to oranges, it was a worse day for the NASDAQ than it was for the Dow Jones Industrial Average. However, what's that come down to? It's the tariff talks, the additional $300 billion in tariffs that Trump wants to impose against China. There will be a little bit more on that, and I'm sure that's the big story in Fox News Live that's coming your way in about 45 seconds. On the other side of that, Kevin Kerrigan, the amazing Kevin Kerrigan, with a look at all of the big stories from today's Guam Daily Post, some interesting observations on what we call news around here. Jerry Roberts, and today is one of those days where you get 2 times Jerry Roberts. You get him on the radio here, and you'll be able to hear him do the extra point for Guahan Insurance Services and First Hawaiian Bank. That comes at you live right here on the radio. But you also get him in print. It's the Work Zone in today's Guam Daily Post, where he talks about the 10 commandments for business failure. Yeah, that ought to be worth reading. So get your hands on a Guam Daily Post today. We're KUSG. Again, the Ray Gibson Show continues right here with Fox News Live on The Point.
Cooperating. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. Police in Texas say the suspect in the mass shooting that killed 22 at a Walmart in El Paso is telling them everything they want to know.
The FBI has executed 3 search warrants at a number of homes around the Dallas area where the suspect was from in the suburb of Allen, Texas, about 600 miles away from El Paso. El Paso sheriff said based on that hate-filled anti-immigrant, anti-Hispanic manifesto, they do believe this was a hate crime. The sheriff said that this man came here to kill Hispanics.
Fox's Garrett Henney in El Paso, where a makeshift memorial of flowers, balloons, and candles is growing. State prosecutors say they plan to seek the death penalty. Federal prosecutors are considering hate crime charges as well.
In one voice, our nation must condemn racism, bigotry, and white supremacy.
President Trump urging bipartisan solutions to address gun violence, including what he calls strong background checks, but he stopped short of backing an expanded background check bill that passed the House in February. Top Democrats say the Senate should be called back from the August recess to vote on it. The president today also singling out violent video games.
It is too easy today for troubled youth to surround themselves with a culture that celebrates violence.
Calling for cultural change. Police in Ohio also still investigating a motive after yesterday's mass shooting that killed 9 people in Dayton, where the suspect was killed by police after firing dozens of rounds in seconds.
When we start talking about the assault weapons.
Dayton City Commissioner Jeffrey Mims is also a Vietnam vet. One bipartisan proposal made today by 2 senators is for a red flag protection order, giving states grants to help better identify people showing tendencies toward violence. Worst day of the year on Wall Street. The Dow drops 767 points. The NASDAQ down over 3%, rattled again by the trade dispute with China. This is Fox News.
Hey, do you know what time the bank closes? I need to deposit my check.
You know you can do that from your phone.
I can?
With Bank of Guam's mobile app, it's easy. Just endorse the back and snap a pic to deposit it into your account. You can do this from anywhere, anytime, which means no rushing to catch the bank and no lines.
With Bank of Guam's mobile app and online banking, we're always open. Visit bankofguam.com for more information. Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Member FDIC.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local-inspired breakfast. AM-loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites, AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
The man who admitted sending pipe bombs to critics of the president is heading to prison. Fox's Gernal Scott has this live.
Well, Lisa, Cesar Sayoc was sentenced to 20 years in prison. Sayoc pleaded guilty earlier this year to 65 counts, all felonies, which included use of weapons of mass destruction and mailing 16 bombs, even though none exploded and no one was hurt. The packages targeted prominent Democrats and entertainers and CNN. Sayoc said it was never his intent for the explosives to go off. His lawyers also asked for the minimum mandatory 10-year sentence, citing incidents in his past of abandonment, abuse, and a learning disability, Lisa.
Thanks, Colonel. Britain announcing the Royal Navy will work alongside the U.S. Navy to escort ships through the Strait of Hormuz, answering a call from the U.S. to help protect commercial shipping amid heightened tensions with Iran. A soccer celebration that got political goes viral.
After scoring a goal on Sunday, Major League Soccer player Alejandro Bedoya ran around celebrating before he ran up to a Fox Sports 1 camera and grabbed the microphone shouting about Congress and gun control.
Up for the very big goal.
Congress, do something now. End gun violence. Let's go.
The co-captain of the MSL team, the Philadelphia Union, later tweeted that words without actions are just worthless and that we need to do something. Major League Soccer released a statement on Monday saying that they would not discipline Bedoya, adding that they grieve with the loss of lives in Texas and Ohio and understand that their players may have strong and passionate views on the issue.
Fox's Mike Gunzelman. Singer R. Kelly facing another sexual misconduct charge, this time accused in Minnesota of inviting a 17-year-old girl to his hotel and paying her to dance naked with him in 2001. Kelly remains jailed in New York after pleading not guilty last week to charges of sexually abusing women and girls who attended his concerts, in addition to sex charges in Chicago. This is Brady Fox News.
Whether it's for business or pleasure, staying connected when you travel is always essential. And now when you travel to South Korea, enjoy free data roaming with Docomo Pacific. Navigate the city, look up the best restaurants, email back home, or post all your pictures, all on the go for free. Call 688-2677 today to make sure your postpaid account is ready for roaming. You plus Docomo Pacific. Better together. Some conditions apply. See print ad for details.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Mark Benventi of Santa Rita, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voice of our community and sharing thoughts and issues that affect us all. It all boils down to our people, our land. Protei igumamam. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
IHOP now has buttermilk crispy chicken made with all-natural chicken breast and a signature blend of seasonings. Why am I running? Because IHOP now has buttermilk crispy chicken made with all-natural chicken breast and a signature blend of seasonings. Whoa! We're talking chicken sandwiches, chicken and waffles, even chicken and pancakes. But move it, Gray Van! IHOP has crispy chicken!
Run in to try IHOP's new buttermilk crispy chicken strips and pancakes for just $6.99. For a limited time, price and participating restaurants may vary.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 7 a.m. this Tuesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. 34-year-old Frankie Rosalind, a former prison guard, accused in connection with a conspiracy to smuggle drugs into the Manilao prison, walked out of Superior Court Judge Anita Segola's courtroom yesterday after pleading guilty to official misconduct as a misdemeanor. As part of the agreement, the charge of conspiracy to commit promotion of major prison contraband was dismissed. Rosalind was facing up to a year in prison, but he was sentenced to 2 years of probation and ordered to pay a $500 fine. Following his hearing, Rosalind told the Guam Daily Post he felt good. Although he condemned the Guam Police Department's Madanya Drug Task Force that arrested him and 12 others back in August 2017, they were all accused in a scheme to bring methamphetamine, cell phones, and other contraband into the Manilao prison for 2 maximum security inmates. No further appeal is left for the Port Authority of Guam, and General Manager Rory Respicio said the port will follow the decision of the Supreme Court of Guam in the case of Agate Mayor Kevin Siswico. Siswico stands to receive years of back pay and possible reinstatement as an accountant at the Port of Guam, even though the Civil Service Commission determined he did not meet the qualifications for the job. However, the Supreme Court of Guam determined that the 60-day rule was violated when Siswico was fired, and they ordered his reinstatement with back pay. It's a Supreme Court order, said Respicio. Not following a court order results in being held in contempt of court. We are determining the total liability per the court's order, said Respicio, and we will make that amount available once it has been determined. Former Port General Manager Pedro Leon Guerrero signed off on Siswico's personnel action form approving his appointment, according to Civil Service Commission records obtained by the Guam Daily Post. Those records also show that in September 2012, a CSC review of Siswico's hiring concluded the employee possesses absolutely no credible work experience associated with accounting and therefore should not have been qualified for the job. The whole thing was sloppily handled administratively, said Respicio. Now the port is saddled with back pay, attorney's fees plus interest, and this amount will be quantified and reported to the port board. We'll have more news after this.
65 years ago, Bank Pacific opened its doors to our community. As we celebrate, we offer you a special 65th anniversary personal loan rate for as low as 4.65%. For travel, back to school, a wedding, do whatever you want with the money. We just want to give it to you for as low as 4.65% APR. It's our birthday present to you.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal opportunity lender. Member FDIC. Conditions apply.
Mescla Chamorro Fusion Bistro brings you island hospitality with a true taste of modern Chamorro cuisine. A bistro look that feels like home. Their menu features local and traditional flavors with a twist. From their famous Calaguan Hafa to fresh ahi poke salad and their award-winning barbecue ribs. Mescla takes your favorite local dishes and serves them with extra flair that you'll only find at Mescla Chamorro Fusion Bistro. Stop by their newest location in the Grand Plaza Hotel in Tumon. For reservations, call 969-2652. Mescla, a true taste of Guam.
10 minutes past 7 a.m. here at The Point. 67-year-old Assistant Attorney General David Highsmith has been placed on administrative leave pending the completion of an internal review following his arrest last week on an assault allegation. Highsmith is accused in connection with an altercation at Superior Court during which Attorney Gary Gumatauta was pushed and fell, striking his head on the floor and losing consciousness. Gumatauta has since been treated and released from the hospital. Attorney General Levin Camacho has sent a letter to Governor Lou Leon Guerrero requesting the appointment of a special prosecutor to independently review the incident and determine whether or not to file criminal charges against Highsmith. In his letter to the governor, Camacho said he's committed to the transparent and impartial review of the case, and he called on the governor to appoint legal counsel to address it. The new school year begins for Guam public school students next week on Tuesday, and the Guam DOE continues its efforts to fill the remaining 29 teacher vacancies. Those vacancies include 10 elementary school teachers, 12 middle and high school teachers, and 7 special program teachers. Guam DOE spokeswoman Isa Baza says the schools have contingency plans to address any shortages, which may include placing students in other classrooms or relying on other school personnel to help out with classes until those positions can be filled. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now with a look at our weather.
It says breezy with numerous showers and isolated thunderstorms. Winds from the southwest, 15 to 25 miles an hour. Daytime highs today expected to be about 84 degrees. Not going to get too hot. Overnight lows should be about 77 degrees. As we take a look at the weather radar, I do need to refresh the feed because I want to make sure we've got the absolute latest and greatest in terms of radar data for your commute. Sunset tonight at 6:47. Sunrise this morning was at 6:06, and absolutely nobody saw it. Pam Duvall went outside and tried to get a picture of it. And wait a second, hold on. You know what that is, right? That's some kind of meat and coconut milk and potatoes and beans. That's a kadu. That's what the island in some places is going to be waking up to or going to find for some kind of lunch men. And thank you very much for the inspiration. As I said, Pam Duvall did try to go and see the sunrise this morning, and that's all she got.
Yeah, not much there.
Plenty of nothing. Yeah, but plenty of nothing. Low-hanging wet clouds that are out there. Weather radar up and online right now, and Michael Knight's going to tell you what we can expect for the next half hour or so.
Is Landon listening?
I don't know. I don't want to assume he is.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything that makes him smack his forehead. Because
is that a frequent occurrence?
It could be. You know, he is a weather guy. So.
Yep.
Looking at radar here, got a nice little feed of moisture coming on through, and looks to stick around for the, right on through the show. And actually, in the next couple of days, the National Weather Service says this wet weather will stick around for a couple of more days at the very least. Got a lot going on out there. Let's go to satellite because I can show you what's happening. We've got a tropical storm. It is Lakima. That is off by the Philippines. And this is an elongated trough that extends actually north of the Philippines. There's another low pressure area that just popped up today. And then it stretches back here to just east of us. And we have a couple of swirlies spinning off of that. Of course, Lakima over by the Philippines.
That's why the Adlet's going to go after you. They don't call it swirly at their weather center.
Well, at this weather center, we call it swirlies and blobbage and other things. Yeah. So we got a swirly too, and it's it is 95 WInvest. I'm talking to my weather buddies over there, and they say it's looking like this may have actually turned into 11W. That would be the name Crosa, but we'll wait for the official agencies to put that down. Again, that's the reason for a lot of the winds that we're getting. You have basically a forming storm system right there. Now, the good news is it's going to pull away, and as the next couple of days go on, but that's what's going to keep the wet weather in place, and it will take the wet weather with us when it goes. But that will take 2 or 3 days for that to happen.
So I hope that's as close as we get to a storm this season.
I hope so, too. But we're just, this is actually our first run this year of good tropical weather, and so we probably have a couple more runs left.
There you go. 7:14 in the morning. That's a long, living look at the weather. The short version of the weather forecast today is it's going to rain. There we go. News and weather together here on The Point.
Parents, start your child's school year right with healthiness and fun. Complete your child's immunizations, annual physical, dental, or eye exam at FHP and receive a free gift for each exam visit. Perfect for back to school. Valid from July 15 to August 31st or while supplies last. Visit their website or Facebook page for more details. Call 646-5825 and press 2 to schedule an appointment today. Most private insurance accepted. FHP Health Center. Our island, your clinic.
Portions of the Ray Gibson Show brought to you by IHOP. They got the new buttermilk chicken. It's there, made with all natural chickeny breast and signature seasoning blend. Order with the pancakes and waffles or breakfast combo. Available for a limited time only. Visit IHOP in Tamuning and in Tumon. Hey, quick note here. It's wet outside, and the usual flooding in the usual spots is continuing. Just got a note from a friend on Facebook talking about how lousy the traffic is over by Polaris Point. So definitely watch out for that on Marine Corps Drive as you're moving up and down on that southern road. Cars play. Now, if you need to traverse the territory, I would suggest that you do it in something that's got some muscle on it, like a Jeep, the Wrangler, the Compass, Cherokee, or Grand Cherokee. Don't wait for the weather to get any worse. Go test drive one tonight over at Cars Plus. Morning broadcast brought to you by APL, American President Line's global presence with a local home. And it's Tuesday, and that means 2 endless garden bars, 2 tasty entrees, and a dessert that you can share with your beloved for one terrific price. Ruby Tuesdays, 2-for-1 Tuesday with 2 complete meals for a terrific value at just $25.99. Available all day, every Tuesday for a limited time at Ruby Tuesday, Guam.
Real Talk Radio is back. Welcome to The Point, Guam's FM News Talk Superstation.
Bad news for Guam. Apparently, we got a C in medical cannabis access. Do you see this story? It's out there. There exists in the world somewhere an outfit called Americans for Safe Access. And what these guys do, obviously, is they go around and in places where we've got a legalized medical cannabis system, go around and we'll grade it.
How did we even get a C? You can't get medical marijuana here.
Well, so they go down to F, but apparently they give us credit because we actually there is an actual program out there. It's just moving slow. According to them, Guam deserves credit for allowing physicians to recommend medical cannabis for any qualifying condition, but it needs to open dispensaries and address administrative delays to effectively serve patients.
So we probably had a D before they finally decided recently to allow the doctors to go ahead and
So it would have been worse. We could, but and I didn't know that we were being graded on this. If I'd have known, we would have crammed for the exam.
But seriously, D is really the lowest grade you can have and have a program.
No,
because an F gets that you just have no program and you don't care.
Yeah. So it might be that Guam received a C grade. This is an upgrade to the C- that we apparently got during the previous year. In the 2019 State of the States report, an analysis of medical cannabis access in the United States, the ASA assigns a grade to cannabis programs in a state using an A to F scale. So it could have been worse. It could have been absolutely worse.
This is all strangely reminiscent of my middle school math history.
ASA noted that the territory illustrates that a good program on paper, i.e. the one that we have, does not necessarily translate to patient access. Guam also needs to improve its staff training in cannabis cultivation, dispensing, and manufacturing, and increase civil rights protections in the areas of housing, organ transplant, and employment, according to the ASA. Wait a second. Where does this come from? Increased civil rights protections in the area of housing, organ transplants, and employment. Somebody please explain to me where this is from. What civil rights problem are we having with housing on Guam? What right was there before that isn't there now? What civil right protection in organ transplants? So I don't have my driver's license. You got your driver's license on you? Yes. Anybody got a driver's license on them?
Yeah.
Did you check off whether you wanted to be an organ donor on that? Yeah, you did. I did. Did you? You've got it on yours, right?
Little heart right down.
Little
at the
check
bottom.
mark that means that you're a nice guy, and if you die, we can use your body for science.
Mine's a little heart. down at the
Or help somebody out with that.
Yeah.
So when was the last time anybody had any kind of transplant on Guam? Bueller?
Not sure.
Jerry, you remember?
No.
You've been around for a long time. Kevin been around for a long time. Has there ever been any kind of organ transplant on Guam? I know that GRMC.
Well, you put them on ice and ship them someplace else. That's
right.
what happens.
But isn't GRMC? They've got a side by side, a couple of surgical suites that are side by side. The idea being that you would take a part out of one person in one salon and then move it to the other in the other place. All, with the watchful eyes of doctors and nurses and very serious-looking people. But I don't know that any organ transplant has ever happened here. So I'm kind of curious as to why these guys are giving us a hard time, because we need to increase civil rights protections for folks in organ transplants. Weird people. 7:20 in the morning, but it's an interesting conversation, is it not? 888-825-5888-TALK. I don't know how much of this Jerry Roberts is going to be able to see this morning, but I do want to acknowledge that somebody who I think was pivotal to both of us at a certain point in our career. Jerry, when he was flying high as JQ Fanihi on KUAM 610 back in the late 70s and early 80s, and me in the late 70s and early 80s when I was just starting out. And for us, the inspiration came from a television show called WKRP in Cincinnati. Lonnie Anderson is celebrating a birthday. She is 73 years old, and I'm taking advantage of this moment to acknowledge her birthday and put her picture on the screen.
There it is.
There it is, Lonnie Anderson, and just the most incredible hair that you can imagine. But I don't know that that's why we watched her on the show. I don't think that was why.
What was her name on the program? Wasn't it Jessica something?
No,
what was the name of the program?
That's deep trivia.
That's deep trivia.
No, all I got is her name is Lonnie Anderson, and she is 74. 74 years old. Her hair, I think, is about 75. So that's Madeline Berdalio hairspray working in that particular hair job. What do you got?
Jennifer Marlowe.
Jennifer Marlowe. Okay, Jennifer Marlowe. But that was a pivotal show. It was a great time to be in radio. Got good music, got some great personality stuff going on, and we had our own television show.
Yeah.
And it wasn't all that far off, I think, from real life radio.
There was some stuff in there that kind of made sense.
Yeah, and there was a character, just about every character you could identify with in the radio station. From the weird sales guy and the cute girl in the front, which became a job that Vivian Cunningham got to do for a while. She was our Lonnie Anderson at the front desk at KUAM back in the old days. And the only thing that was weird was the morning guy, Johnny Fever, who was opposite of the morning guys that we had at the radio station.
Yeah. Dr. Johnny.
Dr. Johnny Fever from back in those days. And Les Nessman doing the newscast and of course the owner's kid and all of that. There was a lot of parallels between that show and real life. She is celebrating a birthday. Well, I got other celebrity birthday up here. Maureen McCormick also has a birthday, and Maureen McCormick will go down as my first television crush.
Brady Bunch, right?
Yeah, Brady Bunch. Marsha on the Brady Bunch. And it was about this time where I discovered it, and we were watching it on colored cable television back in 1974. And my very, very first television crush. My other one was the girl on Land of the Lost.
Yeah, I thought she was cute.
She was kind of cute. Holly. 7:23 in the morning.
Those flea stack.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thanks for allowing me to sit in the warm bath of nostalgia here. Good times. Every once in a while, you got to do something like that.
Yep.
So 2 times Jerry Roberts today. We've got Jerry Roberts in the studio for the Extra Point. We've also got Jerry Roberts in the middle of the Guam Daily Post today because he's got the column today in the work zone. It is the 10 Commandments for Business Failure. So if you absolutely want to get it wrong.
If you want to get it wrong, I give you the roadmap today.
Right?
Yeah.
But is it possible, and I haven't read this, I remember you riffing on it a little bit ago, is it possible that sometimes, you can take the absolute worst thing that you can do and say, I'm still going to run with this and see what happens. Just run counter to the crowd and say, everybody is zigging, so I'm going to zag. Can you take one of these and turn it into an opportunity for greatness?
You do all 10 of those things? No way. No way, Jose. Okay. But if there's some, you can probably get away with some of it.
Quit taking risks, be inflexible, isolate yourself, assume infallibility, play the game close to the foul line. Don't take time to think. And there's a bunch of others, plus a nice little piece at the end. I want you to take a look at it. It's in this morning's Guam Daily Post, Jerry Roberts. And without any... Oh, I got to take a look at the market.
Yes,
We don't have time, or do I have time? Do I? I'm looking at the... Do we have the theme up? No? Well, then I'll do it naked then. It was a lousy day in the market. Just FYI. Yeah, it totally sucked. The Dow Jones Industrial Average, 767 points, closing at 25,717. NASDAQ at 7726, off by 278 points. Getting there. And the S&P 500, 87 points in the red, 2,844. All of the markets are down. The FTSE is down. Nikkei is going to open from a negative position. So will the Hang Seng Index. The Hang Seng Index, incidentally, closed down 767 points as well yesterday. Shanghai off by 46 points, in the DAX at 213 points in the minus. It's an ugly, ugly day on the markets.
Except for Bitcoin.
Bitcoin... the people are looking for a safe haven, right?
11,700. I firmly believe that it's in just complete opposite movement of the markets.
Aren't the bonds are supposed to be moving opposite to the markets, but all of those are off as well. Kevin Kerrigan putting some pretty good advice on the table. And when the markets are down this low for reasons that may have, the tariffs are going to have an effect on certain Dow and NASDAQ and S&P 500 components, but not all of them. So start looking around for some of the bargains that are going to be out there, and take some. If you've got any extra dough, I'd start pumping it into some of those bargain prices that you're going to see on some of the markets. This is probably going to recover, maybe not as fast, but over the next couple of days, I think we'll start to watch an upward trend. West Texas crude moving in the right direction as far as I'm concerned. 55.66 yesterday, at 55 and a penny today. $65.39 for Tapis crude yesterday. Now trading under 65 at 64.66, off by about 72 points. So that's good news for Tapis.
I think those prices it's just a little bit of pressure there.
Yep.
They might want to, in honor of
the rain
of Tuesday and the rain, they might want
it's
to lower
raining.
those prices.
Bring the prices down because it's raining. It's 7:26 in the morning, and now it's time for Jerry Roberts to bring you the Extra Point, brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with yes.
How can people defeat mediocrity before it becomes their ultimate destination in life? Today we'll talk about a huge factor that has to change if they are ever to break free. That's next on The Extra Point.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
The majority of people in the workplace are average, or as we've been saying the past few days, mediocre. The word doesn't mean bad or poor quality. It is defined as average. Here's a fact about that mediocre majority. It doesn't value learning like high-performing workers do. Mediocre workers generally don't have a desire to learn. I saw a quote the other day that made my jaw drop, and it's absolutely true. Here it is. Most people would choose entertainment and distraction instead of learning and growing. Think about it. Daily television viewing used to be about 7 hours a day in most homes. Not anymore. TV viewing is far less today, but it's been replaced by social media. We bury our faces in our phones, and it's not for the purposes of learning. Many students graduate from high school without the basic abilities in math, and many can't read very well. The ability to read opens up unlimited opportunities. The level of reading, once a person leaves high school or college, has declined decade after decade for years. If you are someone who wants more out of your career and you don't know where and how to start, here's one possible path you can follow. Number one, get off of social media. The 15 to 20 hours each week that people devote to Facebook and Instagram, and that probably describes a light user, can be used to learn something that can boost your career. Number two, if your reading skills aren't up to par, you can buy materials to help you do better or hire a tutor. Further, if you've got kids and they're struggling with reading, get them help now. It's a great gift that will keep on giving. Number three, go to your boss and tell him or her you want to do more. Be mentored, get trained, ask for them to push you to improve. 4, Cut out happy hour or time with the crowd and turn that time into self-education. It's not about happy hour. It's about recapturing time by eliminating all those non-essential activities and converting it into your personal development schedule. If you want more out of life, the cost is dedication to self-education. That's how you pay for it. Don't wait for your employer to decide when you grow. This is how you get ahead and leave mediocrity in the rearview mirror. You differentiate yourself from the masses who won't commit. For every day you read a book, millions of others won't. If something is hard and you want to quit, don't, because others will. This doesn't mean you can never hang out with your friends or totally separate yourself from who and what you know. It means if you want more and to be more, you have to give more. Former San Francisco 49ers coach Bill Walsh said this: winners act like winners before they become winners. That's how they become winners. And that's the extra point. Get out there and make something good happen today. For 93.3, The Ray Gibson Show, Guahan Insurance Services, and First Hawaiian Bank. I'm Jerry Roberts.
That's a good one. Home run, Jer. 7:30 in the morning. The only thing I want to add to that is don't be afraid to take chances.
There you go.
Don't be afraid to take chances. Courage is always rewarded. There is an opportunity in front of you right now to take a chance. And you might fail, but how did you say it yesterday? It might be an excellent failure.
Excellent failure.
So I'm wondering if this is an excellent failure in the making. Oscar Mayer has announced they have created an ice cream that includes bits of hot dog and spicy mustard inside of it. What do you think, Rand? Do you think this is going to go down in the annals of culinary history as maybe the greatest thing to happen?
It might work if it's avocado ice cream.
Avocado ice cream?
Yeah.
They have that already. Yeah.
But if it's in avocado ice cream,
I guess another point is that there are a whole lot of ice cream flavors out there that are doing pretty good that we would never have thought of as a kid. When I was growing up, we had 3 flavors of ice cream: chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. And now you have 31 flavors. You go, and somebody decided that we don't need to eat ice cream all the time. Let's do yogurt places. Yeah. And yogurt places have exploded across the country. It was a once upon a time where tea came in 2 flavors, sweet and not sweet. And now you can go by a place over at GPO that my daughter cannot. We cannot be in GPO without going over to Shot Time, right? Yeah. And get one of a dozen different milk tea flavors with these little round things inside.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they are. It's weird for me to have things besides ice in my drink. But the world, take a chance out there, guys. There's an opportunity.
Yeah, there you go. Well, if Oscar Mayer gets away with this, Hormel can't be far behind.
Chili flavored ice cream.
Spam ice cream.
Spam ice cream. There's got to be somebody. Take a chance on that today. There's somebody that is driving to work this morning and thinking about something unique and different they want to try in their restaurant. Spam flavored ice cream.
There you go.
And we'll garnish it with what is it? Seaweed.
Seaweed.
Yeah. Like you ever have spam musubi?
No.
With the rice and spam wrapped in seaweed?
As soon as they come up with vegetarian spam, I'm on it.
7:32 in the morning. There's another chance to take. And we got to jump into headlines now. 7:30 headlines brought to you by GPSI Guam, a professional services company, registered contract for the federal government. Learn more about Al and his team over at GPSI by calling 477-3058. This newscast also brought to you by Auntie Loli Kamet of Remax Diamond Realty. For your real estate needs, call Auntie Loli at 688-6743. From the Guam Daily Post, here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning: yet another reported missile launch from North Korea. The Guam Office of Homeland Security this morning issuing notice of another missile test fired off the east coast of North Korea into the Sea of Japan, based on a report from the Yonhap news agency citing South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff. It's the 4th missile test within the past 2 weeks, all from the same area of North Korea. Guam Homeland Security says in its release this morning it posed no threat to Guam or the Marianas. They continue to monitor the region. 37-year-old Joshua Vera Palacios had 5 prior criminal convictions before he was charged in the murder of Keith Castro. Among his prior convictions, burglary, theft, robbery, and criminal trespass. Palacios made his initial appearance in Superior Court yesterday on his latest arrest. According to the magistrate complaint, he told investigators he did not remember being at the Gigo home where Castro was shot and killed on July 28th. The complaint states that he told police he had been using methamphetamine for several days prior to the shooting, and the drug caused him to black out. Assistant Attorney General Alicia Draper DeHart told the court Palacios is a danger to the community with a history of prior arrests and convictions. Judge Jonathan Kwan agreed to her request for a $500,000 cash bail. Senator James Moylan has introduced 4 new bills aimed at reducing GovGuam spending. One measure would prohibit all 25 GovGuam line agencies from using their individual budgets to pay the salary of a deputy director in their department. Bill 189 doesn't bar the hiring of deputy directors, but it would instead require that the funding come from the governor's budget if the executive branch feels that such a position is needed, said Boylan. A similar Bill 190 would also force the governor's office to shoulder the cost of executive security by blocking Guam police from using their budget to pay the cost of providing security to the governor and lieutenant governor. A third bill would do away with the Guam liaison office in Washington, D.C., and the fourth measure would restrict funding for cell phone and wireless services. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Oh, we're gonna have Jimmy on the radio before too much longer and talk about that. It sounds like some fun stuff. So basically, if you want an executive security guy to follow you around on your junket, you got to pay for it out of your office's budget.
Out of the governor's office.
The governor's office budget, not the police department. And you might be wondering what the possible savings are on that. And I want to say that last year, the executive security detail cost the government of Guam about $360,000. And much of that, significant amounts of it, were coming from overtime. 7:36 in the morning, and that is headlines from the Guam Daily Post. 7:36 is iConnect time. Swing by iConnect and ask them about saving money on your mobile and internet plans.
Hi, welcome to this Subway ad for the new ciabatta collection. How do you want it?
I'll take the slam poultry.
Sure. Italian ciabatta with mozzarella. When hunger reigns, you're my favorite umbrella. Tasty garlic steak and provolone. With you, my taste buds are never alone. Savory chicken pesto, you have my affection. For you complete the ciabatta collection. Thank you. That was the new ciabatta collection by Subway. Limited time only at participating restaurants.
Okay, traffic gizmo not pretty this morning. Worst looking is Polaris Point area, northbound. Marine Corps Drive around that area in Petey is flooded, and it is slowing down traffic big time. And you might see also some traffic slowing down as you're trying to get onto Big Navy. Marine Corps Drive traffic past that, not so bad. Route 8 looking busy in a couple of spots over by the entrance to Roy T. Demyon and various parts of that loop that we've got in the Mungmung Totomaiti area. Also in the Tamuning area over by St. Anthony School and that area. It is busy in both directions. Very, very slow moving around that 3 squares and that, I want to say that intersection over by St. Anthony School. Watch out for that. Looking at other traffic, Marine Corps Drive southbound by this area here, DPW. Watch out for some traffic moving through there. Among the worst northbound traffic is going to be up around the Stumbo area, the intersection of 1 and 3, and southbound between 1 and 3 and the Micronesia Mall. It opens up again, but then it'll slow down by the time you get to Santos Hill. So if you're on the roadways, expect some delays right now. It's not very, very pretty out there. Looking at traffic southbound Marine Corps Drive from Ipau all the way into about where the old grocery store is along Macheche Road there. Starting to get real busy and real slow. It's the rain, and it's the idea that maybe there's some people here that just plain forgot how to drive when it rains. 7:38, that's right now traffic on the point.
We understand what matters to you because at Docomo Pacific, we're a family too. With the Now Family program, mom, dad, and kids stay connected on the latest devices the whole family can enjoy. For just $155 a month, get 3 lines with 30 gigs of 4G LTE data each, and endless use of your favorite apps without affecting your monthly data bucket. Add more, get more, save more. Docomo Pacific, better together. Some conditions apply.
It's 7:38 in the morning. My name is Ray Gibson, and I'm just thrilled to be here with you because I'm inside and it's dry. It's currently dry. I don't have to worry about traffic. I don't have to worry about getting stuck in it or any of that. So I got that going for me. And I was recounting to a friend of mine recently just a great Friday that I had. It was a wonderful program. I got to hang out with some groovy people, and among the groovy people I got to hang out with was Senator Clint Rigel and his wife Therese and other friends over at the place, and we sat down next to each other. I'm like, "Hey, dude," he said, "Yeah, dude." I said, "Everything is off the record tonight, and we're not talking work." There were a couple of interesting conversations about where things might be headed with a couple of laws and bills, but for all intents and purposes, a good Friday night, huh, Clint?
Oh, yeah, I had a great time. Thanks, Ray.
Senator Clint, but you know what you didn't tell me, and maybe it was because we embargoed the, talking politics and stuff like that, was you didn't tell me that you had a bill that was going to ban back billing at GPA and GWA.
Oh, yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay, surprise. I mean, I could have led with that first thing yesterday morning.
Sorry about that. I thought you saw it. I sent the press release out Thursday evening, actually.
I'm trying to remember when it might have crossed into my email box, but I wasn't paying too much attention to it.
No worries.
Talked to Simon about it yesterday.
We did talk to Simon yesterday about the idea. We were wondering who we were going to get first. You or Simon, but Simon was easier to get a hold of early yesterday morning. So we did spend some time talking to him as a commissioner on the Consolidated Commission on Utilities. And as you might have surmised, it was not in favor of the idea of a ban on back billing just on fairness purposes. But let's go back and tell the story. Why do you want to ban the practice of back billing in the cases where there might be issues with the meters that are getting read or malfunctions and things like that? Why do you want to go down this road?
Sure. I don't think it's fair. I don't think what they're doing is fair. They're doing estimates of the back billing, and I understand. I guess you have to start somewhere, but there's just far too many meters that have broken. This has been going on for years now. And so when I was thinking about whether or not to do the bill, I thought back to how this all sort of first started. And I remembered years ago, we used to have the analog meters, and they seemed to be working fine. I mean, we had these analog water meters, and then GWA said, I think, at the behest of the CCU. I don't remember who was really pushing it or not. But all of a sudden the idea was we need to get rid of these old analog meters because they're not very accurate, and we need to put in these new smart meters, these electronic meters. And there was pushback at first. People didn't trust them. People were saying, "Oh no, we don't trust these digital meters. This is we trust the old analog meters. We think that they're good." But they pushed forward with it, and sure enough, when they started putting all these digital meters, it wasn't that long before they had to start replacing a bunch of them. And back then, they ended up sort of putting the blame on, I don't know if you remember, GWA general manager at the time, Craddock.
David Craddock, yeah. I was just looking up that name. Dave Craddock was the best thing to happen to talk radio since Doug Moylan, because he was always stepping into a puddle. I remember he and I just get into it because he wanted me, number one, we're putting radio read meters at your house, Ray Gibson, and the other thing is if you don't have a shutoff valve within 18 inches, there's going to be trouble.
Exactly, that whole issue, remember? So that
oh,
caused
God,
a lot of backflash. And but they proceeded, they put him in, and then afterwards they blamed him for having something wrong. I don't know if it was the shutoff valve or like some sort of backflow thing or something. There was something they said he was requiring that you have on the meters that they ultimately said caused those meters to malfunction. So then they did a whole round of, okay, there was because of this bad decision by Craddock, we're going to replace all these meters again with another set of newer meters that these are going to work now. So they did that already. They put in all the new meters, and then years later, again, here we are today, and they're still replacing meters. And every time they replace these meters, they back bill. And in addition to that, there's been numerous complaints I've received from people that just don't make sense as to the way they're back billing.
Oh yeah, there is a big consumer backlash from people that number one, they find out that there was discrepancies with their meters to begin with, and then the estimated bills that they receive, and I get this too, don't appear to look like anything that they've ever seen before. So what is this estimate? Why is it so high? What is this estimate based on? Is it the estimate of my usual use, or is it the estimate of what it should be if I've got a perfectly functioning machine? And so the meters get pulled out, they get put on the bench. I don't know. It's a long and complex story, and I can see where you'd get a lot of support from a lot of people that would back you on this Bill 188. As far as faulty meters go, my understanding is that it's a relatively small percentage of these meters that fail, and it's not too far off from the failure rate that the old analog meters that you used to have.
I don't.
That's.
Okay.
Well, you know what? When it gets to be, when it gets to be, hearing time, no doubt there are going to be people from GWA that are going to come in, and folks from the Consolidated Commission on Utilities. So it might be worth making sure that they've got the data. What's the failure rate of those machines back in the old pre-Davy Craddock days versus the new machines?
I mean, exactly. I'd love to see that data, and I'm just, I find that really hard to believe because me personally, my meter's been changed out. That's another thing. I have personal experience with this. My meter's been changed out 3 to 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I've gone over this process over the years a number of times. So I remember one time the meter, I had to go in and report the meter, and I remember going to customer service once and saying, "Hey, I think my meter's faulty again." Customer service, "Oh no, how can that be? We just replaced your meter. You have a new meter already." I said, "No, well, it's not working again." And "Oh, how do you know, sir?" "Well, because your bill says your bill says negative like 17 cents or whatever. I don't remember this. This was years ago. But your bill is showing a negative charge. So are you saying you owe me money? Because I'll gladly take the money. But I'm sure I owe you money because I've been using water."
Right.
And so they said, oh, wow, let me see your, oh, yeah, that's not right. Okay, we'll send another team out. We'll have that thing changed right away. Okay. And, of course, that resulted in back billing again. But, see, at the same time, so they say that they can back bill you 4 months because your meter was faulty. The problem is it makes no sense to me because, say, my meter goes out today, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if it's going out today, then they're allowed to back bill me 4 months from today.
Correct.
But why are you back billing me if my meter went out today? It didn't go out those 4 months prior. They're now assuming that because it's showing a discrepancy today that, it must not have worked properly the last 4 months.
It's an interesting way to see it. One of the other points that Sai was making yesterday is if you eliminate the capability of the utilities to back bill, that means that the consumers, if they've got a defective machine, will have essentially received free electricity or free water service. I mean, how do we make sure that we don't compound the leakage problem for the utilities by allowing customers to get basically free services?
Sure. So, well, they should replace the meter right away. Why are we getting free service? These are supposed to be smart meters. So I can understand a day or two maybe, or a few days or something, but they're going 4 months, or even a week. They're going 4 months. That means that the only other explanation of that would mean that the meter went out and then it took them 4 months to replace it. You see what I mean? Otherwise, what I'm seeing is that they're actually back billing 4 months and they're guessing that your meter wasn't working 4 months.
Right.
So like I said, my meter went out today. It's showing a discrepancy today, but they still back billed me 4 months, even though I've been paying my bill the last 4 months and my bill stayed relatively the same, about the average I normally pay.
Right.
But now they're saying, no, something was wrong those last 4 months, so we're going to go ahead and back bill you for it.
Well, the crazy thing about my place, at least my cursory look at the bills that I've got, is they all seem to be the same, regardless of how much water I use. It's always about the same amount of money that I send to the certainly the water company. Electric company, it's been different. The electric company numbers have been fluctuating pretty wildly from what should be about $180, $190 worth of electric bills. I was pretty close to $400 for a couple of months over the hot summer months. So that in my mind is kind of an interesting thing that a lot of people started complaining about as the summer months got much hotter than they were. There is a concern that are you going to suggest that they go back to analog devices?
No.
Okay, good, because we need to use the technology, and significant monies have been spent getting radio read technology on GPA side and the GWA side.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we should use it. We just got to make sure, I mean, we're getting the right stuff. Are we buying the right piece of technology? You know, it's like, you know, with any technology, say there's an improvement in software or something, but if you get it from the wrong company, your software is going to have bugs in it.
Yeah, that's why I'm worried. That's why I'm worried about the E911 system. Do me a favor, try to keep an eye on that one as well. Could this have been solved with maybe a round table at the legislature as opposed to a full blown piece of legislation?
I don't think
because it sounds like there's a lot of questions that need to get answered, and it's possible if you just call Simon and Miguel and JB, and they would have answered the questions.
Oh, I did meet with Simon before, prior to this.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and his answer was just that he disagreed with it. He didn't like it. He disagreed with it. Didn't think it was right. We went back and forth, you know. And I thought about it for some time, and ultimately I decided this is the correct thing to do. I also discussed this during the oversight hearing I had several months back. This was one of the topics. It was a long oversight hearing. There were numerous topics. This was one of the topics that we brought up, were the meters and the back billing issue. And that's another thing, too, is so with GPA meters, their failure rate is 1 out of every 4. And I don't know how that's a normal, acceptable failure rate. They argued with me that, you know, cell phones, even they have a failure rate. And I said, I don't think
it's 25%.
1 out of 4 failure rate.
Yeah, well, I'd mention that. If I lost 25% of my system on a regular basis, I'd be looking for new vendors. Debbie Wise on the Facebook Live this morning says yesterday, Simon said there was a 25% failure rate of meters that needed to be repaired or replaced. How would a car company respond if 25% of their products were failing? How would a manager respond if an employee was unsuccessful in sales or productivity 25% of the time? Hit the highway would be the answer.
If 25% of vehicles were failing in a, you know, for a dealership, they would just recall all the vehicles.
Yeah, Nate says anything with a 25% failure rate is just that, a failure. Well, it looks like there's going to be some fireworks over at the legislature, just introduced in the last couple of days. We anticipate a public hearing when, do you suppose?
Oh, that I don't know yet. I got to wait first. The bill still has to be referred to my committee, and so it's going through that process through those channels. So the Committee on Rules have to refer it to me, then I can officially look for a hearing date.
You got anything? You got anything fun in the works this week besides that?
No, nothing this week. But there are other pieces of GPA and CCU type related legislation that are in the works.
What are you guys talking about over at the legislature? Is there, you know, the big flap, and where our eyes are off the legislature this week. The big flap seems to be over at Adelup and the issue over pay raises over there. Are you guys getting into any of that over at the legislature? Or are you just kind of watching with amusement as we are?
I think we're at the legislature. We're more focused on preparing for the upcoming budget.
Yeah, well, and speaking of that, I got your colleague Jimmy Moylan on the other line. So from one senator to the other, I'll talk to you later.
Sounds good. Thanks, Ray.
All right, Clint, kiss to the wife. 888-8255 is my phone number. 752. And Senator Jimmy Moylan on the line. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Ray.
Well, it's a good morning because I see you gearing up for a fight here. There's going to be a fight. It's Jimmy Moylan versus administration.
I'm doing my push-ups. I'm exercising, and I'm writing my bills and looking for ways to help our community by cutting off these regressive taxes. And the fight.
She won't do it. She won't do it. It ain't gonna happen. There's no. She's gonna. So no. We don't need to reduce it. We need to stand on collections. We got to get that $200 million that was out there, and that the greedy companies have been holding back, and get that money, and that'll right size the government of Guam. And until we do that, I need that 5% BPT.
I'm coming out strong though. This is the budget time, and this is when we need to discuss things to trim our budget. So that's why we introduced these 4 bills. And I appreciate you giving me the time to talk.
Oh, no, because they're great. I'll start with one of my favorite bugaboos is the idea that there are so many self-important politicians around here that think that if they go down the street, somebody's going to clobber them, and they need to have some kind of executive security all the time. And I like one of your bills that says, "Oh, you want executive security? It comes out of your budget, not GPD's budget."
Exactly.
Beautiful.
Yes, and we're saying if Adelut wishes it, then go right ahead. You apply that from your budget, not from GPD's budget. We've seen previous administrations in overtime for security over $1 million. That's not including their salaries.
Right.
And over $1 million could equal 30 new police officers.
Right. But we gotta have a squad of 3 guys to watch one person sleep and basically drive them around. I mean, these are this is the most expensive taxi service in the world.
Right, and the previous legislature, the 34th, this was discussed during the budget hearing. I don't think it was introduced as an amendment, but it was a discussion. And so I'm hoping my colleagues remember that and consider it during the budget.
Good. And then you've got one with cell phones, right?
I certainly do, yes. Wireless communication, Bill 192. It does not prevent public safety, public health. The important thing.
Well, yeah, first responders. I mean, we've got this whole FirstNet thing that's coming out for them, so I don't have a problem with equipping many of the leaders of those departments and agencies to have access to that FirstNet capability. But I'm thinking with some of these other people with the salaries that they're getting, they can afford a nice plan over at GTA. They can afford a nice plan at Docomo and iConnect and IT&E.
Right, and with my little salary I'm paying for my own phone too. But this is previously discussed in the budget, and it's going to come up in the budget as well. What this bill does is eliminate the positions, as you mentioned, for the executives, such as the governor, the lieutenant governor, or the speaker.
Mm-hmm.
Even on judiciary side, the chief justice or presiding judge, as well as the mayors. But if emergency does happen, of course, we'll get federal funding. And we can purchase this and get reimbursed for those types of situations. But in the meantime, let's do some cost savings things. And I know it's not much for the cell phones, but it's
we're not. It doesn't matter. We're not so prosperous that we can't look at even modest savings. We need to consider even the modest stuff. I mean, Jess Limtiaco says just do a 10% salary cut across the board. Okay, let's do that, and the cell phone thing, and the executive security. Now, what's the one on deputy director? Same thing, right? If you feel the department or agency absolutely positively needs that kind of backup in there, that's fine. You can have a deputy director, you can have an assistant, but it's coming out of the administration's budget.
Correct, and they're looking at $1.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that can go to corrections, that can go to GPD, and this was agreed upon on the 34th Guam legislature too. So I'm hoping my colleagues would agree this time. The different approach we're taking now is we're not telling the governor that you cannot have. Yes, you can, but it's not going to be out of the budget of those departments. So we're not restricting that you cannot hire. What we're saying is you budget for it, and not us, not the departments.
What was the last one? There's 4 of them. We've only talked about 3.
Oh, okay. Let's see. We got we got the security, the liaison office.
Oh,
yes. The Bill 191. I feel that's a duplication of our delegate. And again, we're not restricting the governor from having a liaison person. Fine, but again, it comes out of the governor's funds, the Adelut's funds.
Where's that money coming from now?
She's from the general fund.
Okay, general fund?
Yes, and well, she budgeted for it out of, I believe it will fall under her side, but there is a law now that mandates a liaison office. So this one, 191, eliminates that.
Just repeals it.
If she wants to fund it, that's fine, but we're not saying that it's under the direction of it's not a law that you must. So that's okay too. So
what have we gotten out of the liaison office recently? I mean, we had this conversation, and everybody was quick to give Pudding a hard time last year about the liaison office under the administration of Eddie Calvo and Ray Tenorio. But do you have any? Have you seen anything come out of the liaison office in Washington D.C.? Anything that former Congresswoman Madeline Berdallo has been able to do to justify that position?
I do not know. I'm sure she's doing what she can, but at this time, I think there's sort of restrictions. Just as a previous delegate, that you had to wait some time before you actually implement what you can do as a real liaison. So I'm sure that time is coming up, and she could probably help the island. But I know on the recent bills, we're talking about the war reparations as well.
Mm-hmm.
The Republican Party has been very helpful with our Democrat delegate in moving that forward in the Republican administration at the White House. So, and we're continuing to do that too. So, again, if the governor wishes to have a liaison office, wonderful, out of Adelaide's budget, and I want to repeal the mandate that requires there be a liaison office.
Yeah. Well, and if you want to have one, again, get the money out of your own budget and then see what happens.
Right.
Well, it's budget time, so I think it'll be interesting to see what happens and what the different maneuvering is going to be, certainly on those bills. But at some point, you guys have got to get in there and start chipping away at the budget process. I think that's going to be fun.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. I wish there were more of you at the legislature. I just foresee that we're going to continue to see a whole lot of spending, a whole lot of authorized spending, less for the taxpayers and more for GG in the 2020 budget. Listen, I got to let you run, Jim. I'll see you pretty soon.
You bet. Repeal the BBT.
Repeal the BBT. Make that a T-shirt, buddy. I'll see you. It's 8 o'clock in the morning, 888-8255-888-TALK. Wet, rainy, slimy kind of Tuesday morning. Still a lot ahead of us. Coming up, I got Fox News Live. On the other side of that, Kevin Kerrigan with all the big stories that we're talking about here today. We're going to pretend to talk about sports with Blake Watson, and it looks like we've got some great news at the Cal Ripken World Series for Guam. Doing great in Visalia, somewhere in the States. 8 o'clock in the morning, we're KUSG Agana. This is The Point.
The number of dead rising. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. 22 people have died after Saturday's shooting at a Walmart in El Paso, Texas, after 2 more people died this morning.
Dr. Stephen Flaherty at Del Sol Medical Center says the wounds they've been treating are consistent with being shot by a high-velocity firearm.
Unfortunately, these wounds have been devastating and major, and we are deeply saddened to be here today to have to tell you that 2 patients have passed.
One of those patients was struck in the abdomen. He says they were able to discharge 2 patients. 5 others remain in stable condition. 1 is in critical, and 1 more was transferred to another hospital.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal in El Paso. In Dayton, Ohio, police are still searching for a motive after yesterday's deadly shooting at a bar. The suspect, 24-year-old Connor Betts, was shot and killed by police. Police Chief Richard Beal on the amount of ammunition found at the scene.
If all of those were completely at full capacity, including the loose rounds found on the ground near him, as well as in a backpack that he carried, he would have had a maximum of 250 rounds in his possession at the time.
One of the 9 killed, the suspect's sister. Stocks with their worst loss of the year. The Dow lost 767 points. The Nasdaq fell 278. The S&P off 87.
The market started their downturn earlier this morning with that announcement from China that it will be devaluing its currency. A spokesperson for the People's Bank of China pointed to the announcement from President Trump at the end of last week regarding that next potential batch of tariffs, $300 billion worth of goods, 10%, that is expected to come into play on September 1st.
Blake Berman with the Fox Business Network. South Korea's military says North Korea has fired unidentified projectiles off its east coast. Its 4th such launch in 2 weeks. This is Fox News.
IHOP now has buttermilk crispy chicken made with all natural chicken breast and a signature blend of seasonings. Why am I running? Because IHOP now has buttermilk crispy chicken made with all natural chicken breast and a signature blend of seasonings. Whoa! We're talking chicken sandwiches, chicken and waffles, even chicken and pancakes. But move it, Gray Van! IHOP has crispy chicken!
Run in to try IHOP's new buttermilk crispy chicken strips and pancakes for just $6.99. For a limited time, price and participating restaurants may vary.
65 years ago, Bank Pacific opened its doors to our community. As we celebrate, we offer you a special 65th anniversary personal loan rate for as low as 4.65% for travel, back to school, a wedding. Do whatever you want with the money. We just want to give it to you for as low as 4.65% APR. It's our birthday present to you.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal opportunity lender. Member FDIC. Conditions apply.
Prison time for the man convicted of sending pipe bombs to prominent Democrats and journalists. Fox's Colonel Scott has more live.
Lisa, Cesar Sayoc got 20 years for sending 16 unexploded pipe bombs to high-profile Democrats like Hillary Clinton and President Obama, actor Robert De Niro, and CNN. The packages were sent to 6 states and Washington, D.C. Prosecutors say it was Sayoc's intent to terrorize people Sayoc's lawyers say he was at least partially influenced by an obsession with President Trump. They add a life of abuse and mental illness were also to blame for his actions. The defense asked for the minimum 10-year sentence. Sayoc reportedly wept when the 20-year decision was handed down, Lisa.
A federal lawsuit accuses Jim Biden, the brother of Vice President Joe Biden, hedge fund manager Michael Lewitt, and others of attempting to defraud a Tennessee business. The defendants have until mid-August to respond to the suit. Iran claims it's seized another oil tanker.
It's the third oil tanker Iranian forces have seized since mid-July. This one came from Iraq. Iraq's oil ministry denied any ties to the tanker. The oil tanker was seized near Farsi Island in the Persian Gulf, 400 miles from the Strait of Hormuz. The tanker was seized on the same day the Trump administration sanctioned Iran's foreign minister last Wednesday. Iran's top diplomat Javad Zarif says he was sanctioned after declining an invitation to visit the White House. Iranian state media says Senator Rand Paul proposed the meeting. At the Pentagon, Lucas Tomlinson, Fox News.
Before Disney films its live-action remake of The Little Mermaid, ABC will take a crack at it with a live production starring Moana actress Aludi Cravalho as Ariel. The production, to air November 5th, will also star Queen Latifah as Ursula and Shaggy as Sebastian. The movie will be from the original animated film, as well as the Tony Award-winning Broadway show. The animated film celebrating its 30th anniversary this year. I'm Lisa Lacera. This is Fox News.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,600 by calling Family Finance in Agutya at 475-4545, Upper Tumon at 647-5626, or in Dededo 633-4473. Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local-inspired breakfast. AM-loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites, AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 8 a.m. this Tuesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. 67-year-old Assistant Attorney General David Highsmith has been placed on administrative leave pending the completion of an internal review following his arrest last week on an assault allegation. Highsmith accused in connection with an altercation at Superior Court last week, during which Attorney Gary Gumatautau was pushed and fell, striking his head on the floor and losing consciousness. Gumatautau has since been treated and released from the hospital. Attorney General Levin Camacho yesterday sent a letter to Governor Lou Leon Guerrero requesting the appointment of a special prosecutor to independently review the incident and determine whether or not criminal charges should be filed against Highsmith. In his letter to the governor, Camacho said he's committed to an impartial review of the case, and he called on the governor to appoint an independent legal counsel to address the issue. No further appeal is left for the Port Authority of Guam, and General Manager Rory Respicio says the port will follow the decision of the Supreme Court of Guam in the case of Kevin Siswico. Siswico, who is now the mayor of Agate, stands to receive years of back pay and possible reinstatement as an accountant at the Port of Guam, even though the Civil Service Commission determined that he did not meet the qualifications for the job. The Supreme Court of Guam, however, issued a ruling last week that the 60-day rule was violated when Siswico was fired, and they ordered his reinstatement with back pay. It's a Supreme Court order, said Respicio. Not following a court order results in being held in contempt. We are determining the total liability per the court's order, and we will make that amount available once it has been determined, said Respicio. Former Port General Manager Pedro Leon Guerrero signed off on Seswico's personnel action form approving his appointment as an accountant, according to Civil Service Commission records obtained by the Guam Daily Post. Those records also show that in September 2012, a civil service review of Seswico's hiring concluded the employee possesses absolutely no credible work experience associated with accounting and therefore should not have been qualified for the job. Respicio said the whole thing was sloppily handled administratively, and now the Port of Guam is saddled with back pay, attorney fees, plus interest. This amount, said Respicio, will be quantified and reported to the board. We'll have more news after this.
We understand what matters to you because at Docomo Pacific, we're a family too. With the Now Family program, Mom, Dad, and kids stay connected on the latest devices the whole family can enjoy. For just $155 a month, get 3 lines with 30 gigs of 4G LTE data each, and endless use of your favorite apps without affecting your monthly data bucket. Add more, get more, save more. Docomo Pacific, better together. Some conditions apply.
Hi, welcome to this Subway ad for the new ciabatta collection. How do you want it?
I'll take the slam poultry.
Sure. Italian ciabatta with mozzarella. When hunger reigns, you're my favorite umbrella. Tasty garlic steak and provolone. With you, my taste buds are never alone. Savory chicken pesto, you have my affection. For you complete the ciabatta collection. Thank you. That was the new ciabatta collection by Subway. Limited time only at participating restaurants.
News time here at The Point is 10 minutes past 8 a.m. 34-year-old Frankie Rosalind, a former prison guard accused in connection with a conspiracy to smuggle drugs into the Manilao prison, walked out of Superior Court Judge Anita Sicola's courtroom yesterday after pleading guilty to official misconduct as a misdemeanor. As part of his plea agreement, the charge of conspiracy to commit promotion of major prison contraband was dismissed. Rosalind was facing up to a year in prison, but he was sentenced to 2 years probation and ordered to pay a $500 fine. Following his hearing, Rosalind told the Guam Daily Post he felt good, although he condemned the Guam Police Department's Bandanya Drug Task Force that arrested him and 12 others back in August 2017. They were all accused in a scheme to smuggle methamphetamine, cell phones, and other contraband into the Manilao prison for 2 maximum security inmates. Yet another reported missile launch from North Korea. The Guam Office of Homeland Security this morning issuing notice of the missile test. Japan's Yonhap news agency reporting that 2 missiles were fired off from the east coast of North Korea into the Sea of Japan. The report cites South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff. It's the 4th missile test within the past 2 weeks, all from the same area of North Korea. Guam Homeland Security says it posed no threat to Guam and the Marianas, and they will continue to monitor the region. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now with a look at our weather.
Got breezy and numerous showers, isolated thunderstorms in the forecast for today. Southwest winds to about 25 miles an hour. Daytime highs 84 degrees and overnight lows of about 77 degrees. Not going to get too hot at all today. The sun should go down at 6:47 tonight. Not sure if you're going to see it, although it does look to me like we might be going into a little bit of a break period on the radar and the satellite imagery. Michael Knight from the National, I'm sorry, not the National Weather Center, but the Point Weather Center. Wait, I want to put this up. Where's your graphic? There we go. With our weather ambassador for the Weather Ready Nation. That's us.
Yep, got that from Landon this morning, as a matter of fact. So, yeah, I'm the point of contact for all of us here at Choice Broadcast.
Very, very good. So, I'm glad to hear that. So you are our actual weather ambassador.
Yes. And
congratulations. You're not going to ask me for a raise, are you?
Not again, no.
Okay. All right, here comes the radar.
Yeah, checking radar out here real quick. And, yeah, it does look like the worst has moved through, at least for the next half hour or so. But you've got plenty more back behind it. And the thing about these systems is they can pop up just out of nowhere. So expect more of the same. This is going to be what we get probably for the next 2 or 3 days as the monsoon continues to affect us. Looking at satellite real quick here. Oh, we are being directly affected right now by 95 WNvest, which has had a tropical cyclone formation alert issued on it. So it'll probably be a tropical depression before the end of the day today.
Yeah.
And actually, JMA has it listed as a tropical depression already. What this means is just that it's organizing, it's getting better, getting its act together a little bit better, but it is moving away very slowly. And it, along with this tropical storm, Lakima, off by the Philippines, that's all part of a much larger monsoonal system that extends actually out to that blobbage that's even further to the east. This stuff is going to gradually start to move northward over the next couple of days, but it's going to take it 2 or 3 days to do so. And so all of that blobbage down to our south and east has to come on through before it's all said and done.
Yeah, I was going to say, because if this storm here that is developing to the northwest of us right now, if it's developing on the fly as we're talking about it now, it seems to me that lower plume is going to help contribute to that, and it will begin to develop that southern part of the circle, and Guam's just going to stay in that until this thing is 300 miles off, right?
Yeah, and that's basically what we're under right now. We're under the general monsoon flow, and now this is intensifying because this system is deepening and developing, and that's why we have such gusty winds out there. So yeah, the winds are going to stick with us, and this thing is developing right over the top of us, basically, for all intents and purposes. So we're going to be dealing with this thing for the next couple of days.
That is interesting.
Yeah,
and maybe only a couple of 2 or 3 times in my life that's happened. Where I remember it was working the weekend overnights once upon a time someplace, and the phone rang, and it was somebody from the naval base, the folks over at the weather center, and they were at the joint JTWC, and they called in to say, by the way, they've got this weather happening right now. We need you to get on the radio and tell people what's going on. I said, well, what's going on? She says, there's a typhoon actually starting right over us right now. It's developing as I'm speaking to you.
Yeah, last year we had Maria. Maria came in as a tropical depression, then immediately became a tropical storm just before passing right to the northern tip of us, and then became a typhoon not even 100 miles offshore, as it literally developed as it passed right basically over us.
It turned into a big one somewhere, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, that affected the I want to say Taiwan.
All right, so the question that I've got here now, based on what we're talking about with the weather, is are there going to be fireworks tomorrow night? Kevin?
if not, if it's going to be.
I'm sorry. That's the same thing as jumping somebody unexpected. Believe it or not, the carnival activities are still going on. Carnival closes tomorrow night, and they're supposed to be at 7 o'clock. The John Dank show from 7 to 9, the Dolls from 9 until 10, and then there is going to be the Carnival, the fireworks at 9 o'clock. So somewhere in the between the John Dank show and the Dolls, there are going to be fireworks being shot off from the Agana Carnival grounds.
Well, if you can do all of that in the rain, it'll all be done.
All right. Well, and that's the question. Can we fire off those mortars? Or what did you call them? Unidentified
projectiles.
Unidentified projectiles. This is what Fox News is calling the missiles coming out of North Korea. Crazy day. 8:16 in the morning. That's news and weather together on The Point.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
It's Tuesday, and that means you go to Ruby Tuesday because they got a special deal for people that like to watch each other eat. It's kind of a 2-for-1 thing. So you got the endless salad bars between the two of you, and then you sit down and then you order your entree, and you can get an entree, and they can get an entree, and then you split the dessert, and it's like $25.99. This is not going to last for a long time, but that kind of price, I don't know if you can stay in business with that kind of service. So better take advantage of it today by swinging by Ruby Tuesday, and it's a special that they only do on Tuesdays. Portions of the program also being brought to you by American President Lines, global presence with a local home. And Ron and Kim and the team over at Security Title, making sure that you actually own the property that you think you just bought.
Hey, do you know what time the bank closes? I need to deposit my check.
You know you can do that from your phone.
I can?
With Bank of Guam's mobile app, it's easy. Just endorse the back and snap a pic to deposit it into your account. You can do this from anywhere, anytime, which means no rushing to catch the bank and no lines.
With Bank of Guam's mobile app and online banking, we're always open. Visit bankofguam.com for more information. Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Member FDIC.
Can do. Portions of the program also brought to you by my pals over at Take Care and Cars Plus, where they've extended the summer of the Jeep until the end of August. That's right. Everybody going back to school middle of next week. But as far as Cars Plus is concerned, it's still summertime. And the perfect ride for summer is a Jeep Wrangler. Go test drive one today at Cars Plus. Up and Mighty program also being brought to you by the guys over at Mescla. And they're all nuts congratulating Chef Peter on his third place victory is the King of Louisiana culinary competition. You want to try out some of the great food that they've got there that I wholeheartedly recommend. Pretty much anything that's seafoody on the menu over at Mescla, or swing by there and try the garlic roasted Dungeness crab. Now there's another thing they want me to tell you about. It's a double cut pork prime rib chops. But I want to tell you about the garlic roasted Dungeness crab because I can almost taste it when I tell you about it. 2 pounds of Dungeness marinated with a secret garlic sauce and served with special chow mein noodles. Interesting way they put that together. It will dazzle your mouth. Visit Mescla in Agotnia and in Tumon at the Grand Plaza Hotel. I suggest you make reservations, not for the chairs, but put the Dungeness on reserve, right? Say, I'm coming in, and I'll eat this outside in the parking lot, but make sure you save a couple of Dungeness for me. It's 969-2652. Again, 969-2652.
Any speaker, anytime. The Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Nick, you are the funniest guy on Facebook Live right now. We're talking about North Korean missiles and things like that, and somebody complaining that nobody's saying anything about it over at Adelup with, what is it, there's now the fourth round of these unidentified, again, it's unidentified what? Unidentified?
Projectiles
that are
the
coming at it.
The message is not for us, it's for Trump.
Okay, but we're the Trump. As far as they're concerned, Guam, Trump, America, and Asia.
Nothing to be worried about. We're not.
But Richard says.
No. Don't rope us in there.
The Guam public can kiss their butts goodbye while Guam Homeland Security sits comfy and monitor the North Korean missile story. No whimper from little Lulian Guerrero, just saying what's local Guam going to do. And then Nick says, Nick is teasing Governor Lulian Guerrero by saying the statement is this: I think that a missile, I think it would be a bad thing for Guam.
They shot a missile and it fell into the East Sea.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason to tell us. It's not anywhere near here.
I know.
And they did tell us.
It wasn't even in this
We know,
direction.
right? Isn't that why we're talking about it?
No, the Japanese told us. The Japanese told us on that story,
we were
right?
told, right?
Well, everybody's reporting it. It came out of the South Korean Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Right.
Yeah,
So
like who?
More missiles out of North Korea. So you guys aren't worried about that at all anymore?
No.
Okay. I'm not suggesting that I am.
I don't think you are.
No,
I don't think anybody
I grew
is.
up in the Cold War. I mean, there's always been a threat to Guam.
We're so desensitized to it, especially now after 2-3 years of threats and just firing straight up or firing close or firing wherever.
Well, I think the resolution there to completely get us out of trouble. If the guy is concerned about Guam whatsoever, if we are a target for the North Koreans, then I suggest our supreme defensive move might be to do something like rename. I don't know. You rename it the Dennis Rodman Laddie of Freedom.
The worm. The worm. The worm Laddie of Freedom.
And then we'll name something. The worm. We'll nickname something the worm. There's a piece of road. I don't know. Instead of calling it Snake Road, we'll call it the Dennis Rodman Worm Road.
The Worm Highway.
And then put that up on all the maps. And if they see something in North Korea and they decide that they want to send a message to Trump via Guam, they go, wait, hold on. They have the Dennis Rodman Laddie of Freedom.
If they want to really get to Trump, they should just go mess with Florida. He really likes to go down there. I don't think he'd be bothered if you mess with Guam, but if you mess with Florida in his golf course, he may.
John Dank's awesome, aren't they?
John Dank?
Yep.
Yeah, they're good. I actually almost wore their shirt. I almost wore their shirt in here this morning. I found it. I was cleaning my kid's closet out after the first 3 years of clothes that they can't fit anymore.
Yeah, that's fun.
And weirdly enough,
what are you doing? What are you going to do with those?
They're in boxes in my hallway.
Okay. Do you know where you're going to take them?
No. I mean, Mrs. Sports has plans for them. I'm sure she was talking about either donating them, giving them to her mother to sell. I don't know, but either way,
okay.
yeah.
And as far as you're concerned, as long as they're out of the house,
as long as they're out of the hallway,
they'll eventually make it into the back of somebody's car. This is my favorite. And I've got a bag of clothes I don't fit anymore. And the sad case is that were clothes that I either bought at a different waist size or were bought for me at a different waist size, and I never wore. Still labels on them, right?
You know, I used to make the problem. I would get so excited about going shopping that I wouldn't try anything on, and I wouldn't look at the sizes. So no joke, I would see something, I would see a pair of pants. I have a pair of 38 longs at home because I didn't check the size. I just grabbed them off the shelf in like high school, and I took them home. And then,
you still have them.
And I still have them. That's why I don't wear them, because they've forever been too big for me.
Give it a few years. You'll
38.
Yeah, 38.
I don't know if I get a 38 long.
No, never say never. Never say never.
I'd have to grow, I think, taller too.
I was at 29 up to the middle of my first marriage, and then all of a sudden, boom, 35, 36. So I'm back down to 32-ish.
Nice.
I'm happy. 8:23 in the morning. And is it time for Sports with Blake? Pam Duvall, happy birthday, Pam. The avocados, I ate one right out of the bag. She dropped off some avocados for my birthday.
Yes.
Anyway, so I ate them right out of the bag. I ate one of them right out of the bag. And it's my favorite way. You just open up the avocado, you throw in some soy sauce and Tabasco and just chew it up. Use the avocado itself as your plate. Great way to do that. But actually, there was a lot of avocados in there. No, I didn't share with anybody. And so I spent a little bit of time the other day scooping the meat out of the avocado, and I've got it trying to decide whether I'm going to freeze it, whether I'm going to guacamole it, or whatever. I don't got nothing. I don't have any chips to eat the guacamole with, or any of the other guac fixins, or smoothieing it.
That's usually what happens to the ones that are just past the ripe date in my house. They usually get Vitamixed into with some plain yogurt,
bananas,
some
that
some
kind
cucumbers,
of thing. So
maybe some
but
kale.
Anyway, thanks very much. I appreciate that. Was it from Pam Duvall, who was accusing me of exaggerating again?
I had a friend tell me, they're like, I don't like avocados. I'm like, what? And I was like, well, why don't you like avocados? I go, I don't know. I just didn't like the consistency. Growing up, I never liked it. I'm like, oh, well, how did you eat it? And they're like, well, put the milk and the sugar in it, and that's. I'm like,
oh God.
Well, yeah. I go, if that's the only way I ever had it, I would hate avocados
wouldn't like it either.
too.
Yeah, this is the only thing that's growing, so that's all we're going to eat.
The only way
avocados.
they ever had it was with milk and sugar. I mean, you should try it just plain.
8:25 in the morning. 888-8255 888-TALK. And big news. I did a great story out of the Visalia Times Delta, and Joshua Yeager got caught up, and it's a multiple-page love piece for our guys at the Cal Ripken World Series. Guam makes Visalia debut at Cal Ripken, noting 6,000 miles and 7 time zones to get there. And he's got a link to a YouTube video of a song, Guam is good, Guam is hot. Guam is just such a little spot. Beautiful island that you never see, where America's day begins. Dozens of proud parents and family members belted one of their homeland's signature songs from the stands of Visalia's Riverway Sports Park during the second day of the 2019 Major 60 Cal Ripken World Series on Saturday, and they had a lot to cheer. The team traveled 16 hours, 7 time zones to compete with the country's most talented players, dug themselves out of a 3-run hole with 2 outs in the game's final moments to win 6-5 against Southeast.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah.
This is awesome. And there's interviews with guys. Guam coaches weren't overly concerned with glory or trophies on Saturday. Even when we lose, we still win, said Coach Cristito Cali said. This will be a memory these kids take with them for the rest of their lives. The coach looks to his last name as a good omen. I'm not from Cali, but my last name's Cali. That's got to count for something. And they say seeing teams from across the country is really exciting, said Jacob Fagundes, Visalia's Gray's first baseman. We hung out with Guam the entire time after our game on Friday. That was the coolest thing. You don't have to speak the same language to play baseball, the 12-year-old added. This is such a great piece. See if I can get the link and stick it on the Facebook Live here, because it's just nice. A testimony of the fact that wherever Guamanians go, they make a positive impact. It happens in sports. It happens in a dancing community. It happens in the military community. Culinary? Yeah, well, Chef Peter out in Louisiana.
Yeah.
Third place.
Yeah, spreading the holiday spirit throughout.
That kind of story just makes me so happy. I had to share it. 8:27, what do you got?
I have, as the right as you say that, I've got this. Let's see here, Guam and the NMI yesterday, as we talked, how the U15 national team, the Mini Masakata, they are over playing in the EAFF, East Asian Football Federation under 15 qualifier. Let's see here. Guam is in a group with a few heavy hitters. They played NMI yesterday. Both teams drew. They tied 1-1. And Guam will then face Hong this afternoon, which is going to be pretty tough. Hong Kong coming off a 7-0 tromping of Mongolia. And then the NMI elsewhere, they will face off against, let's see here, Mongolia. So that's pretty much all I got. I had the Cal Ripken story that you kind of just shared, and elsewhere on the diamond.
Well, you might have had the scores, but you didn't have that story.
I didn't have that, so I had the scores. You're right.
That's just a feel good.
And some of it was rained out over the weekend, but the APL Guam Women's Fast Pitch Softball League did play somewhat over the weekend. The rain didn't fall on the early game. The Aztec did their part to stay in the mix. They beat the Queen Bees in a game shortened by 5 innings because of the mercy rule, 18-8. Was the final there, and the afternoon games and the other games were rained out. So I think they only got one off for the APL, but it's still going on. So if you ever, if it's not raining too much this weekend and you want to go watch some fast pitch softball, get down to PD and watch the APL Women's Fast Pitch League.
Absolutely. A couple of 5Ks that are on the list, and again, this weekend's going to be busy. We've got 3 that I know of now. The One Healthy Micronesia 5K. This is August the 10th. That's Saturday morning at the Governor's Complex. So go down to Agana and keep going until you get to Adelup. Because that's where they're going to be launching from. I still don't know the course, but it's either going to be running down to the War in the Pacific Memorial Park or up to Chamorro Village. That's the only 1.5 half mile that you can go in either direction. First Church of God has got the 2K, 5K. Oh, and the big prize for the One Healthy Micronesia 5K, that one there is a T-way flight to Korea. And then the First Church of God 2K, 5K, that's going to be at Chamorro Village, 4:30 in the afternoon. Go time. Show is at 5:30. That one could get you to Osaka. And then, what is it? Sofitel? I'm trying to remember the name of the hotel I stayed at there. Very, very nice, and it's got the subway down at the bottom. If you need to ride the subway, you got the trains, and they're all right there. And lots of good shopping and a lot of good eating right there, as you might imagine, at one of the major train stations in Osaka. But really, the fun is taking that long walk to Dontobori, whatever.
See the big crab.
Look for the big crab and the big running guy. The Tiedzin 2K, 5K Sunset Walk. This is the one that Mana and the family want to do. Will be at the softball fields up in Tiedzin. Show for that one is 4. Go time is going to be at 5 o'clock, and I think the trip on that one might be just the trip around Tiedzin.
Oh,
we're just going around Tiedzin. No Osaka, no Korea, nothing like that. But Mayor Juni, there's still time to get a big prize, big expensive flyaway prize on that one that we can talk about over the next couple of days.
Yes, and I did want to I guess we can talk more about it as the week goes on, but GNYFF is the first local sport to kind of start the fall season, as the Youth Football League will be in full effect. First game, first week this weekend, so I'm not sure how the weather's going to fare for them, but the Raiders taking on the Cowboys.
It'll be muddy.
Raiders versus the Cowboys. That's all age groups at the Tiedzin Field. Packers will take on the Steelers. Again, this all 3 age groups playing each other at Tamuning. That's Saturday. Sunday, Angels versus Crusaders up north at Angels Field, and the Eagles will take on the Outlaws over in Mingilau at Eagles Field.
Lauren Leisman says, "Hi, Blake."
Hi. That's my god. That's my Nina's niece.
Nina's niece. Okay, there's a Chamorro word for your Nina's niece, and I have no idea what it is.
And she's younger, she's younger than me, almost maybe by 10 years or so.
Nan or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, I'm gonna kick you out because Natalia Faculo's outside. She's got a big thing happening with another round of Toastmasters, so I want to make sure that she gets inside without getting soaked. So you go open the door for her. John Ray Titano says Guam Raiders. Lauren says 26. Gotcha. Tell her to go round back.
26. There you go. I'm slacking is what she said. Funny thing about her, my boy Jason Momoa, Lauren's husband, I have a picture. Lauren's husband proposed to her at Dallas Comic-Con in front of Jason Momoa. So there's Lauren, there's her husband, and there's Jason Momoa.
Very nice picture.
Proposing. Yeah, so
Good
there
job.
you go.
So, as I said, we're going to go to...
I would let Natalia in.
Yeah, I think she's over in the front now. 888-8255 is the number. It's 8:32 in the morning. That's all the time that we've got to pretend to talk about sports. We do this about the same time every day, just FYI. Headlines with Kevin Kerrigan that we do about this time every day as well, coming up next.
Parents, start your child's school year right with healthiness and fun. Complete your child's immunizations, annual physical, dental, or eye exam at FHP and receive a free gift for each exam visit. Perfect for back to school. Valid from July 15 to August 31st or while supplies last. Visit their website or Facebook page for more details. Call 646-5825 and press 2 to schedule an appointment today. Most private insurance accepted. FHP Health Center, our island, your clinic.
Hannah Smith Layfield is online and Facebook Live as well. Growing crowd here, and as we make our way through this morning, might be in a dry patch outside, but that is not anticipated to stick around for a long time. We're going to be back and going back and forth, and it will go from it's not raining to it's oh my God raining all day long today. There might be some misty spots in there, but that's what you can look forward to. Right now, time for headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, 37-year-old Joshua Rivera Palacios had 5 prior criminal convictions before he was charged in the murder of Keith Castro. Among his prior convictions, burglary, theft, robbery, and criminal trespass. Palacios made his initial appearance in Superior Court yesterday on his latest arrest. According to the magistrate complaint, Palacios told investigators he didn't remember being at the Jigo home where Castro was shot to death on July 28th. The complaint states that he told police he had used methamphetamine for several days prior to the shooting, and the drug caused him to black out. Assistant Attorney General Alyssa Draper DeHart told the court that Palacios is a danger to the community and he has a history of prior arrests and convictions. Judge Jonathan Kwan agreed to her request for a $500,000 cash bail. Palacios and his co-defendant, Thomas Mark Titano, are scheduled to be back in court for a preliminary hearing on August 13th. The new school year begins for Guam public school students next week on Tuesday, and the Guam DOE continues its efforts to fill the remaining 29 teacher vacancies. Those vacancies include 10 elementary school teachers, 12 middle and high school teachers, and 7 special program teachers. Guam DOE spokeswoman Isa Baza says the schools have contingency plans to address any shortages, which may include placing students in other classrooms or relying on other school personnel to help out with classes until those positions are filled. The Guam Housing and Urban Renewal Authority will be upgrading its closed-circuit TV surveillance systems at its various locations. At its July 29th meeting, the GURA board approved the installation of as many as 52 additional surveillance cameras. Currently, there are only 10 in service. The additional cameras will be installed at its main office in Sinahanya, at Guma Tranquilidad in Tuman, and at public housing units in Totu, Jonya, and Agate. According to a news release from GURA, the enhanced surveillance systems will give the Housing Authority the ability to record 14 days of data. GURA Executive Director Ray Tapajna is quoted in the release as saying, "We hope this will deter theft from occurring on GURA properties and promote a safer environment for our families." For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
I think that's a good plan. Thank you so much for the news all morning long, Kevin. It's 8:36. That is time from iConnect. Ring iConnect and ask them about maybe saving you some money on mobile and internet plans. Their number, 888-8888.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Mark Benventi of Santa Rita, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voice of our community and sharing thoughts and issues that affect us all. It all boils down to our people, our land. Protei Igumama. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Well, you got slow traffic, and then you got ugly traffic. I see a lot of slower traffic around the major intersections today from the Stonebow area clear under 1 and 3, and most of Marine Corps Drive southbound after that also moving pretty slow as well. You'll see a little bit of a stall in front of the Micronesia Mall area, the what I call the Chicken Joy intersection. Marine Corps Drive, if you're trying to get up is this up or down? It's up Marine Corps Drive from Santos Hill. Expect some delays. It is slow moving to get to that light. Once you're there, also slow moving until you get past St. John's. You ought to be all right after that. In front of the A.B. Wanpat International Airport at both of the intersections there, I got slow moving traffic. Marine Corps Drive over at the intersection, the old what's it called? The EPOW Road intersection. Moving slow through there. ITC building intersection has got some slowing down there because there's always chronic flooding when it starts raining. And then the intersection, I want to say that this one here is the one, that takes you the McMobile intersection up in Mighty, right on the way into Harvest Christian. That one there is slow moving on the road, but also in front of Harvest Christian Academy. It must be wondering if it's first day of school or just practice for car line down there. Watch out for it. Traffic into and out of the downtown Agutnia area at the intersections, it's going to be moving heavy up in Sinahanya over by the 76 Circle K, also moving fairly slow. And then moving around odd traffic down in the Assen area up around Nimitz Hill at that bend. I got to slow down, which is weird because I almost never see traffic there. And then, of course, getting into Big Navy and Suma. I know there's a lot to it, but there's a lot of traffic this morning. Considering it's second string, that's weird. 8:38, that's right now traffic on the point.
Mescla Chamorro Fusion Bistro brings you island hospitality with a true taste of modern Chamorro cuisine. A bistro look that feels like home. Their menu features local and traditional flavors with a twist. From their famous Calaguan Hapa to fresh ahi poke salad and their award-winning barbecue ribs. Mescla takes your favorite local dishes and serves them with extra flair that you'll only find at Mescla Chamorro Fusion Bistro. Stop by their newest location in the Grand Plaza Hotel in Tumon. For reservations, call 969-2652. Mescla, a true taste of Guam.
From 9 o'clock in the morning, 888-8255-888-TALK, and just like that, the room smells better. I've got the freshly bathed Natalia Faculo in the studio, and the aroma of, what did you say that was, Jimmy Choo?
Jimmy Choo Blossom.
I can't get enough of that.
If you're looking for a lovely smelling perfume or gift for someone,
do they
check
have that?
out
Do they have like an air freshener version of that thing?
I wish they would.
Like a Jimmy, what is it? Jimmy Choo Blossom?
Yes.
Wouldn't that be great if there was a Febreze version of that? They can just.
If only.
If only. Okay, so I got to write that down. Jimmy Choo and Blossom. Okay, so the next time. Or the next time. Anyway, so Bobby, if you watch it on Facebook Live, Natalia's in the studio, and it's another one of these Toastmaster adventures, but it's a different one today. I think by now everybody knows that there's Toastmasters going on, and that you have meetings all the time, and that if you want to get better at your presentations, if you want to get better at being able to deliver speeches or speak extemporaneously off the topic of off the top of your head, whether you know anything about the topic or not.
Right.
And listen, this is invaluable experience if you ever want to become a politician on Guam, is the ability to just open your mouth and vomit words that make sense. I've seen it happen. It happens on the program virtually every day. But if you want to get good at it, and when you, and I'm just joking around, but I mean, when you do have something to say or a message that you want to communicate, but you're not confident, you build up that confidence with the Toastmasters.
That's correct.
And you don't have to wear the Jimmy Choo, but we prefer that you do.
It would be a compliment to smell that better. So what Toastmasters provides is that platform to practice your verbal fluency.
It's a safe space.
Yes, exactly. We empower individuals to just come on and whether it be practicing your extemporaneous speaking, so thinking on your toes, we got that prepared for you, and then there's the prepared speeches where we have our theme for the day and you talk to that topic.
So one of the other things about today's program, and like I said, it's a safe space. You can go in there, and if you're just clumsy with your conversation, it's a good place to go and sharpen those skills. But the thing that I noticed, you sent out an email the other day that got my attention, because while you're always going to be looking for people to come and attend a Toastmasters meeting, you're looking for people to come and actually make speeches at the Toastmasters.
Yes, we would love to do a call out if you just want a stage to practice on. Whether it be your presentation for work or something you're just vehemently passionate about, you can come in and speak about that. Usually we'd have people signed up the week before. So our meetings are every other Tuesday at Cars Plus in MIT at 6:30 p.m. That is tonight. And it's free to the public. So what you can do is being present will allow you to think quickly, to be at ease in front of people when you practice your communication, whether it's taking on a role, the timer, the evaluator, general evaluator, or simply, explaining what the word of the day is. So usually we have our word of the day, the theme of the day.
I thought you already did all that stuff, but you've already got people in the Toastmasters that have those roles. Are you looking for new players for the roles?
So we alternate every meeting. And so the great thing about Toastmasters is that it's both an emphasis on leadership and communication. So we exchange roles on leadership. So you have all your roles, timer, evaluator, counter, and then every other meeting, you generally want to practice taking on each role, right? And then you go on and you explain your role, and then you allow for the prepared speaker to go up, and you can provide your feedback and so forth.
So what are you looking for in terms of speakers? I mean, I'm sure that this pops into your head because you're in a position where you are soliciting speakers on a fairly regular basis, right? People that will come by to Cars Plus every other Tuesday, including tonight at 6:30, and I don't know, regale the crowd with something. I mean, are there storytellers out there that you want to hear from?
We would love to hear from storytellers. Generally, people who are looking to work outside of their comfort zones.
Oh, really? Oh, so you're not necessarily looking for somebody that is already an accomplished speaker.
And that's the beauty of it. No. So you can come in and
okay, so because in my mind, I'm one to go on the radio and twist people's arms and say, you need to get so-and-so to show up.
You got to start somewhere.
Right.
Right? And Toastmasters is a place, whether you have supervisors, you want to help increase their communication skills. This is the place where if you're going to conduct leadership meetings or weekly meetings, it's a place to do so, to practice. So you'll become more at ease. And then also we're around a supportive environment. So we encourage everyone. We clap after everyone goes up.
It's like karaoke.
It's just, it's a really great time.
You can completely botch it.
And we have fantastic members, age ranges about 25 to 70. So you get people from all different demographics.
And it's Cars Plus, and so Pokey Fry is right down the street, and you just, Cars Plus for a while, Pokey Fry. Tuesday, and if you're lucky, you can get Krabby Patty burgers that they have on Tuesday. I'm just saying, if you're looking.
Is that their special?
Well, yeah, but I don't know if they're still going to have it. I mean, at 6:30, what time do the meetings usually get out? About an hour?
7:15.
So, 7:15. So it's not a big
we try to get out.
Okay, so
I'm sorry. 6:30. Yeah,
6:30 to
7:45.
7:45. All right, so it's still not a big time drag on you.
An hour and 15 minutes.
Okay, so so look, they might still have a Krabby Patty burger for you over at Pokey Fry, or maybe you can go over to Roots or something like that. What the heck? You're on Route 8 anyway. Just kind of enjoy the ride. So so that in my head is going the opposite of where I thought the conversation was going to go. So you want people that need to have that safe space and know that no matter how clumsy their presentation is, they're still going to get advice. They'll still get some kind of acknowledgement from the crowd, and maybe some tips on how that they can do it better when they need to do it for real. All right, so I'm thinking about a bunch of young people that I know that are in the military right now that from time to time may have to step out in front of a crowd, and for them, I'd rather face the enemy than face a crowd of my peers.
For most people, it's an arduous task to kind of go up and just give even a 2-minute speech on whatever their topic is.
Yeah.
But being a part of Toastmasters allows you to branch out of that comfort zone and just become more self-confident. And it helps when you have a supportive group, and that growth environment to do so. So if you need a stage to practice, this is a great outlet.
It's back to school for a lot of teachers next week. Maybe a lot of new teachers that are going to be before 25, 26 kids for the very first time. What's that going to feel like?
Oh, nervous energies.
Yeah.
But, you can come by tonight.
Come by and work all of that nervous energy, that anxiety out. There's any number of other groups that are out there that, individuals. So if you're listening right now and this is resonating with you, if you're going, she just described my life, then 6:30 tonight over at Cars Plus in Mighty. It won't cost you anything to get in. There's a lot of happening people and a lot that you can learn. I attended one of the inaugural meetings that they had, and I came away learning things, and I've been talking in front of microphones and crowds virtually all of my life. I still get nervous. But there's ways that you can get over that, and one of them is just building up the confidence. And you build up the confidence by repetition, by doing it, and by practicing. So don't be afraid of going every week and having an excuse to get up and say a few things from time to time.
Every other Tuesday.
Every other Tuesday.
Yes.
People are going to wonder how they can get a hold of you.
So you can contact us at toastmastersguam@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Toastmasters Guam.
Okay, and sign up. If you sign up, then you'll be on the mailing list, and you'll be able to get blasts like the one that I got the other day.
We send out our weekly emails. We encourage role signups, and again, just if you're looking to be more confident in your speaking.
What are you doing these days besides this?
I'm actually heading out to get certified for one of the CrossFit level 1s.
No way!
Certifications.
No way! CrossFit?
So that puts a lot of pressure on me because I haven't announced it. But
yeah, I know. No, you haven't gotten the certification yet?
No, not
So you're testing today?
No, over the weekend.
Over the weekend, you're testing. Yes. What's involved? All right, now I did CrossFit. And my favorite CrossFit story is basically the only CrossFit story. Is the 3 or 4 years ago, and I had a running injury, so I couldn't run, but I still wanted to get a good workout in. They said, "Oh, you should try CrossFit." So I went to the CrossFit place up in Mighty, where the Payless is now, and I'm up there, and I'm having a hard time making it through the WOD. I'm having a hard time with the exercises. Just it's really, really hard. And I come from running, and I come from 2030 with Louis Blanco, and I'm going, why can't I do this? Why can't I keep up with everybody? And then it hit me. I looked at everybody in the room, and I was almost twice as old as everybody else was. And I thought, that's why.
Age.
That's why.
It's just a number.
Age is just. But once
I know it sounds cliche,
but once I had that realization that wait a second, all right, I'm trying to perform at the same level as these younger guys. That gave me a little bit of the confidence now to go, yeah, but I've gotten this far in the program with the impediment of age. So yeah, I got a little bit more confident and found that I was finally able to complete the WODs. I was finally able to, especially with the compound moves that you get in CrossFit from time to time.
And it's so incredible that you go in and you think that you're incapable of doing this, but once you get into the movement of it and you've completed the workout, you'll look back and you'll be dead on the floor, just.
Oh yeah, it's sweaty as hell.
Yes, but I mean, you're so proud of yourself that you've actually done what everyone else is doing, and you're in that environment where it's super inspiring and encouraging, and you're helping others improve their fitness and just become more mindful of movement, functional movement that we do on a daily. Yeah. So CrossFit, people use it as a supplement activity. Like your main thing is running.
Yeah.
Doing CrossFit, would help you become a better runner or a better basketball player or whatever.
Well, whatever stabilizes my core is part of it. So
exactly.
But how did you get into that? Had you always been into cross fitness or working out?
I was. It's going to be on my 5th year doing CrossFit, and I was just really inspired as of late to just kind of put myself to the test and learn the CrossFit foundation, and fundamentals, and hopefully become a coach, to help others improve their fitness and their health goals.
I was going to say, any particular gym you think maybe we ought to be attending?
Well, there are many throughout the island. I personally go to Unified Fitness.
Yeah.
So, whether you're a marathoner, just a runner, or someone looking to improve your fitness, there are tons of gyms on the island. You can come by and check out the gym I go to at Unified behind ITC. We have some classes.
It's the first one behind ITC because there's another one at the end of the street.
So if you drive all the way down, take a right, it's right there. You can just drop in, check it out. Classes on me. Your first class, you can just try it out.
There's no air conditioning.
No, there isn't. But you know what? It's going to make you feel like you've done a lot of work.
So number one, there's no air conditioning, and number two, they've got weights. There are weight things that you can do, and if you're not following somebody from Unified, or if you're not following Unified, it sounds like a commercial. It's not to do this for anybody, but they're very heavy in social media. So a lot of there are regular CrossFit classes, but there's kind of a contest that you guys do kind of on a regular, and all kinds of different things. So one of my favorite ones is where you walk out with a 30-pound kettlebell. One hand, and then you walk down to the end of the street, and then it's back. You walk in with a kettlebell around the other side. And there's something about the destabilization that's supposed to be really, really good for your cores.
Yeah, so a lot of it is midline stabilization, like you said, but it's to help improve your daily activities. If you find yourself having to carry groceries, the simple movements, coming, to a class would help you improve that.
Yeah.
So no matter your age.
I appreciate the first one is on me. Offer I can't do it right now because I'm currently nursing back and leg injuries because it's Australian rules yoga. So yeah, it's like CrossFit, but it's less impact or
Perhaps
something
you can
like that.
demonstrate one day.
No, I can't. It's ugly. It's me and yoga pants is an ugly thing. 8:52. That's Natalia Faculo with Toastmasters, soon to get her certification in CrossFit. Do you have a real job yet?
I do. I'm over at Docomo Pacific.
There we go. I ask you that every time, and you always tell me the same thing. All right, Groovy. I'm going to let you run, and I got more yak in the next, hour and 10 minutes.
So much.
You're always in now. You're always
fantastic.
welcome guest here. You're my favorite. So it's 8:52 in the morning. That's Natalia. I'm Ray. I'll be right back.
65 years ago, Bank Pacific opened its doors to our community. As we celebrate, we offer you a special 65th anniversary personal loan rate for as low as 4.65% for travel, back to school, a wedding. Do whatever you want with the money. We just want to give it to you for as low as 4.65% APR. It's our birthday present to you.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal opportunity lender, member FDIC, conditions apply.
Whether it's for business or pleasure, staying connected when you travel is always essential. And now when you travel to South Korea, enjoy free data roaming with Docomo Pacific. Navigate the city, look up the best restaurants, email back home, or post all your pictures, all on the go for free. Call 688-2677 today to make sure your postpaid account is ready for roaming. You plus Docomo Pacific. Better together. Some conditions apply. See print ad for details.
Fun welcoming remarks from the peanut gallery here. Yes, Sandra De Leon says, picture time. Yeah, we do that as a regular thing. Annette Ad Vasquez, so very thankful for Toastmasters. I joined 2 Toastmaster groups in L.A., one within my job and the other is with a community. At first, I was afraid to speak in front of a crowd. That shy person that I was now enjoy speaking with confidence in public. With Annette, it's a little bit tougher because she grew up basically in radio. She worked with me for forever back in the old days, and surrounded by guys that yak for a living. So it's kind of hard, as you might imagine, to be kind of the quiet one in the office, surrounded by people that are making all kinds of noise, virtually 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. She is also of that Ada family, and there's nobody in that family that is shy about being on the microphone, her old man included. Richard Clark's online. Nice to see you there. And Carlos Barreto saying, good stuff. Yeah. Dave Evans, Sandra De Leon talking about having Toastmasters there as well. Lady Pam Duvall says, beautiful. You're talking about me, right? Oh, Natalia with the Jimmy Choo blossom smell attached to her? We got it. I wish that came in something at Home Depot that you could spray all the time. That's nice. Tommy Perez is online. Marcus Mismana says, Sahafa, why does Gura advertise about installing security cameras? Seems to me that you wouldn't want the general public to know that you have new cameras, let alone where they are at. Nick, you bring up an interesting point, and I brought it up earlier in the program today, is I'm of 2 minds when it comes to personal and home security. One of them is, and I've got security cameras at the house. I've got security cameras that you can see from the street, because I want people to know that my place has security cameras, and don't rob me. Otherwise, there's going to be, a visual record of you doing it. But I also, and I guess once I've already started talking about it, I might need to finish it. But I also have cameras that you don't see. There are also places in the house that have got video surveillance on them that you cannot see. I've got them hidden, or they're small enough so that it's not going to be the first thing that you see. So if you're going to rob my house, you would better be covered from head to toe, starting from about a block away. And I won't tell you in which direction, because that's the kind of surveillance and security that I've got, as well as all kinds of sensors and things that set off an alarm when you bump them. The only thing that I don't have at my house, Nick, that I really, really want is some kind of booby traps. I don't know, tiger trap, something like that. A little thing, a deadfall. where, you step over this thing and it gives way and there's like bungee sticks down at the bottom. Just something like that, or, a rabid pit bull somewhere down there. That's what I'm thinking I'd like to be able to get. But I remember asking a law professor about this years ago, and apparently it's illegal to booby trap your home. You're not allowed to do that. You'll go to jail or something like that, so be careful. Marie Pangolin Lizama is online. As I said, Hannah Smith Layfield is there. Lauren Leisman online while Blake was playing around in the program. Lynn Tadenko and a bunch of other people that had some pretty interesting comments about different things. Vince Paredes online. Yuka Hechinova, good to see you there. Trade-off for the perfect weather is what? I'm missing something here. I might have to scooch up and see what everybody else is saying. There's Sandy from California, from Southern California's online. Joey Toves, Blake Watson chimed in when he was online. And what else is there? 8:57 and change as the program continues. 888-8255-888-TALK. I know what you were looking at while Natalia was here. There's a survey come out. They asked people. Researchers say that men ogle up to 10 women every day. They spend an average of 43 minutes admiring women. Up to 10 different ones every day. How are you doing? If that's the average, how are you doing based on that average?
You're way above average, I'm guessing. 10
women every day, an average of 43 minutes admiring women. And there are people, probably all those women out there that are going, oh my God, that's men. They're just sexist. They're just pigs. They're just animals. Same research found that women ogle up to 6 minutes for about 20 minutes a day. Yeah. So it's something that apparently everybody does, but I suppose it comes down to, how you describe ogling. I mean, if you're just looking at a girl on television or something like that on Facebook Live, does that count as ogling? Or is it the stare? Is that something? How do we want to define ogling? And is that something that you should feel guilty about? I suppose there's another question. Kenny Williams says, 10 minutes? That's it? Yeah. No, it was 10 minutes, 10 women for 43 minutes a day. So let that roll around in your head. Ogle or Google, says Marcus McManus. Well, I Googled a couple of women today. I'll tell you that, and I will freely admit it. I Googled a couple of women today because I wanted to sit in the warm bath of nostalgia and remember being 17, 18 years old watching WKRP in Cincinnati, and it's still worth looking up the reruns, if for no other reason to see the younger version of Lonnie Anderson. And then one of my very first television girl crushes, Maureen McCormick, who is celebrating a birthday today, and I don't want to tell you how old she is because I don't want to shatter any illusions that you might still have. 10 away from the top of the hour. The radio station is KUSG Agutnia. This is The Point.
Politics aside, I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The mayor of El Paso, Texas, says he will meet with President Trump later this week as the city copes with the weekend shooting at a Walmart that killed 22 people. Fox's Jessica Rosenthal has more live from El Paso.
Lisa, El Paso city officials have just released a list of the names of those 22 people who were killed in Saturday's attack. The police chief here, Greg Allen, says the suspect has been talking, volunteering most of the evidence they have so far. Chief Allen says the shooter drove from an area near Dallas where he'd earlier lived, and that took at least 10 hours.
He was lost in the neighborhood. After that, he found his way to the Walmart because we understand he was hungry.
El Paso Mayor DeMargo called the shooter an evil white supremacist. He says he will meet with President Trump on Wednesday when he comes to visit. He says as it's not a political visit, he will meet with the president to fulfill his obligations as mayor. Lisa.
Jessica, in Dayton, Ohio, investigators are looking for a motive after police say 24-year-old Connor Betts opened fire in a bar early yesterday morning, killing 9 people.
He fired at least 41 times before he was killed. Dayton Mayor Nan Whaley spoke with President Trump about the weapon.
It really begs the question, why does anyone need to have this sort of gun? And I shared that with the president, and he was open to that.
Investigators say the gunman drove to Dayton in his parents' Toyota, along with his sister, 22-year-old Megan Betts, and a third unidentified associate. Police say they separated before the suspect came back shooting. Megan Betts was among the first killed.
Fox's Mike Tobin. President Trump spoke about the shootings this morning at the White House.
We are outraged and sickened by this monstrous evil
the cruelty, the hatred, the malice, the bloodshed, and the terror.
This is Fox News.
Parents, start your child's school year right with healthiness and fun. Complete your child's immunizations, annual physical, dental, or eye exam at FHP and receive a free gift for each exam visit. Perfect for back to school. Valid from July 15 to August 31st or while supplies last. Visit their website or Facebook page for more details. Call 646-5825 and press 2 to schedule an appointment today. Most private insurance accepted. FHP Health Center, our island, your clinic.
65 years ago, Bank Pacific opened its doors to our community. As we celebrate, we offer you a special 65th anniversary personal loan rate for as low as 4.65%. For travel, back to school, a wedding, do whatever you want with the money. We just want to give it to you for as low as 4.65% APR. It's our birthday present to you.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal opportunity lender, member FDIC, conditions apply.
R&B singer R. Kelly faces new sexual abuse charges in Minnesota.
Hennepin County DA Mike Freeman says Kelly will be charged with 2 counts, engaging in prostitution with a minor and hiring a minor for sexual contact. Freeman said the encounter started simply enough.
She was attempting to obtain an autograph from Mr. Kelly. He gave it to her. He also gave her a phone number and told her to call him.
That call allegedly led to a hotel meeting and inappropriate contact. Kelly is currently facing similar charges in Illinois and New York. Freeman says he's not sure when Kelly will return to face a Minnesota judge. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
And Indianapolis Jesuit School appealing a decree from their archbishop to no longer recognize it as Catholic after they decided to not fire a teacher in a same-sex marriage. A TV network banking on nostalgia for its upcoming season.
ABC is announcing that based on the success of their live Norman Lear special earlier this year, which saw an episode of All in the Family and the Jeffersons recreated, they're not doing it once again. They're going to do it twice. ABC has been tight-lipped about which of Norman Lear's classic shows it will recreate, but they certainly have plenty to choose from. Maude, Good Times, and Sanford & Son, to name a few. Jimmy Kimmel will once again team up with Lear to put it together alongside executive producers Will Ferrell and Justin Theroux. Anna Eliopoulos, Fox News.
The decades-old family dispute over the works of author John Steinbeck is not over. A 3-judge panel of the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals will be in Alaska tomorrow to hear arguments in the appeal by the estate of Steinbeck's late son, Thomas, over a 2017 verdict in California. In that case, a federal jury awarded the author's stepdaughter, Waverly Scott Kaffiga, more than $13 million in a lawsuit claiming Steinbeck's son and daughter-in-law impeded the adaptations of the works. I'm Lisa Lacera. This is Fox News.
Hey, do you know what time the bank closes? I need to deposit my check.
You know you can do that from your phone.
I can?
With Bank of Guam's mobile app, it's easy. Just endorse the back and snap a pic to deposit it into your account. You can do this from anywhere, anytime, which means no rushing to catch the bank and no lines.
With Bank of Guam's mobile app and online banking, we're always open. Visit bankofguam.com for more information. Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Member FDIC.
Just after 9 o'clock in the morning, 888-825-5888-TLK. Portions of the program brought to you by Ruby Tuesdays, and it is Tuesday, and that means that they've got something special for you. You and a friend, endless garden bar over at Ruby Tuesdays, and then you can pick out a couple of entrees eat one entree for you, one entree for the other person, right? It's not like you have to share one meal, and then you get to share a fantastic dessert. Now, this is going for $25.99. Fantastic price. Not going to be there forever. Why? What business could basically go on a 2-for-1 deal forever? So check it out every Tuesday at Ruby Tuesday. Also being brought to you by the guys over at American President Line's global presence with a local home is their big deal these days. And the guys over at Cars Plus, who have magically extended the summer. Well, it's the summer. Cheap. They can do that over there. And so you've got all of the rest of August to go and test drive a brand new Wrangler or a Compass or a Cherokee or a Grand Cherokee. Enjoy 1.99% financing with your good credit at Cars Plus.
The Ray Gibson Show, bringing you closer to the action. This is The Point, Guam's FM News Talk Superstation.
Do you miss the sunshine? It'll be a while before we're back into the clear in the Western Pacific with the kind of weather that we're having these days. Last couple of days, I want to say, I think it's rained continuously since late Saturday night, early Sunday morning. It has just been that kind of overcast and busy kind of weather that we've got. I'm not going to complain about it. I thought it was getting too hot, and I remember you know what I still haven't taken care of. I had that problem with the air conditioner in the car, and on hot days, I mean it's just that far away from being unbearable. But with days like the kind that we've had today, it seems to me I can spend a little bit less time worrying about getting that kind of thing fixed over at the air conditioner car fix-it place. And it's also, I'm sure, having a great impact on my power bill. I have not run the air conditioner for very long at all. The house is cool. I kind of like it. The only reason why the meter's spinning a lot these days is closing the door on the refrigerator, and maybe a little bit of extra work for the hot water machine to do, because I ain't taking cold showers. At any rate, I'm not going to be one of those guys that complains too much about the wet weather. I will miss the grill marks. I took advantage of as much beach time as I possibly could over the summer months, and I'm worried about losing the tan. But like I said, this is it's temporary, and before you know it, we'll be back to some clear blue skies and hot grill mark worthy days. I got that feeling. 888-8255 again is the telephone number, and the TALK and all of that stuff. Public hearing is on. I count 3 senators present. I hope I'm wrong. I don't know what we're public hearing about. I was looking at some of the legislative agenda over the coming days. There's going to be tomorrow a confirmation hearing on the executive appointment of Joe Borja as the director of the Department of Land Management. Isn't that what I'm trying to remember the word for that in Tagalog? Balikbayan. Hasn't he already had that job? I want to say that Joe was in charge of land management a dozen years or so, or something like that. I'll look into that and find out. If that's the case, then there's 2 schools of thought. One of them is, hey, wait a second, I thought we voted for change. Why are we bringing back somebody that's already had the job before? And then the others are, well, you know what, we haven't been really satisfied with the guys that are doing the job now, so let's go backwards and see if Joe B might be able to put some magic in there. There's also executive appointments that they're going to be entertaining tomorrow earlier in the day. John Ilau to serve as a member of the Alcoholic Beverage Control Board. My buddy Ray Schnabel, member of the Guam Banking and Insurance Board. Dean Minglotnya and Leah Beth Nahalawa also being reviewed by the legislature for positions on the Guam Banking and Insurance Board. Then they're going to be going into a bunch of different pieces of legislation that I'm only a little bit interested in. Will Castro has got one relative to support of families whose loved ones pass away off island and who require assistance to repatriate the deceased back to Guam for burial. Okay. Is this wonder if this is a solution out looking for a problem? And then we got Jimmy Moreland's got one for filing the articles of organization for an LLC. They want to make that easier and cheaper here on Guam. There are a lot of people. If you ever read Rich Dad Poor Dad, you know that that's one of the keys to achieving and holding on to as much wealth as possible, and that is becoming an LLC. And you might be able to find a way to do that, even just among you and maybe just among you, incorporate yourself as an LLC, and then basically all of the costs of your business, i.e. you living, breathing, eating, will become costs for the LLC, therefore deductible. At least that was the theory I took away from the book. 9:11 in the morning, and just a thrill to talk to this guy here. We were talking about some great sports activities that are taking place with the Little League guys that are playing out in Visalia, and then we were talking about the Skip Entertainment Group going and performing and winning all kinds of awards off island. And then I don't know, about a week ago, Kevin Kerrigan said, hey, Chef Peter from Mescla is going to be heading off to a big stateside culinary competition. He joins me now, Chef Peter Duenas. Good morning, Lane.
Good morning. How are you, Ray?
I'm okay. Where on the planet are you right now?
I'm actually in Canada right now. We just visited a salmon fishery, and I'm here with Joe Okada from the Guam Barbecue Company and Chef Leland Fang from the Pacific Star Hotel.
No way.
And so my wife Monica,
Oh, that sounds great. So are you looking at maybe adopting some of that salmon fishery idea for Guam, or are you just eating?
Well, we just came to watch the salmon spawn. It's salmon season, so the salmon were going upstream, and it was interesting thing to check out. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
We're hungry now after all the salmon.
I was going to say that kind of a long jump, though. You were just in Louisiana for the competition, right?
Yes. We actually left there on Sunday and got here Sunday evening.
Amazing. I don't know what the connection is all about. I mean, there's a million and one other things going on in the United States that you might have been able to get into. But no, we're going to go check out the salmon spawning up in a whole different country, up in Canada, from Louisiana. That's interesting. Well, let's backtrack a couple of days and tell me about the King of Louisiana culinary competition that Guam showed up. You and the team came in third place. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yes. It was, the Great American Seafood Cook-Off, and this was the 16th year that they've hosted it. And the Lieutenant Governor of Louisiana, this is kind of his event, and Guam was fortunate enough to get invited to participate this year. So, of course, naturally, we jumped at the chance to, anytime there's seafood and cooking, period, we're down for the action. So we put together a small delegation of chefs, and we collaborated and put some ideas together and did a couple of practice runs, and then we headed for Louisiana, and we were in downtown New Orleans. And the event was this past Saturday, August 3rd, and we came, we did what we planned to do, and we actually walked away with third place, so we're real proud of that.
Well, we're really proud of you out here. Kind of curious. I mean, we know what kind of food that you generally cook and prepare for paying customers over at Mezcla. Give me a little bit of a sense of what it was that you prepared for the judges down there.
Well, the dish the competition basically highlights the seafood that every chef cooks in their region, and they also wanted to highlight sustainability. And it's collectively it's an important competition where they highlight different aspects of food, and one of them is sustainability.
Yeah.
So my dish that we put together was a shrimp hash crusted parrotfish, and we served that over a basil-laced sweet potato cake, and we finished it off with a mangrove crab and corn bisque. And that was our dish.
You had me at parrotfish. Did that travel well?
Yes, actually, we packed everything in the cooler. We packed it nice and tight, and it made it all the way to Louisiana and was still frozen when we got there. So that was it was great for us to do that.
Right. Because it's not like parrotfish is something that you can just go diving for in the Gulf of Mexico and come out with something.
Absolutely, and actually, when we present our dish, each chef has about 8 minutes to verbally present the dish. And I talked about how parrotfish is iconic. It's an iconic fish in Guam, and it's only found in the tropical regions of the world, and it's a super great tasting fish, very delicate, very soft and flaky,
and very versatile too, I find.
Yes, and parrotfish is everywhere. Parrotfish is something that anyone can find on Guam any time of the year. It's the most versatile fish to use. You can fry it, steam it, make soup out of it, bake it, grill it, make kelaguen, sashimi.
Yep. So it was just entrees. You didn't dazzle them with any appetizers or dessert?
No, it was just a main course competition. We had to prepare 7, and we presented 6 of them to the judges. They had some Food Network TV stars. They had a individual that was part of the James Beard committee I guess the people that give James Beard awards. And they had a couple of other famous chefs. They had a famous chef from the Culinary Institute of America that was there as well. So they had an all-star judging team, basically.
Well, I'm glad you got third place. You know, there's something about going off on these competitions and being able to face off against chefs and competitors, culinary competitors from around the globe here, around the nation. And generally, you know, it's a worthwhile trip if you come back with a trophy. But even if you don't come back with a trophy, you still come back with some invaluable experience and maybe some new things. I mean, when you were looking around, were you seeing the competition? When you were looking at some of the other entrees, did you see anything that got your mouth watering or got your wheels turning in your Chef Peter heads going, oh, I want to try that. I want to try that for the restaurant. I want to try that for the boys, right?
Absolutely. They had, it was an all-star lineup. They had very distinguished chefs and that were competing in the event. There were 17 of us total. They even had a top chef finalists from the Bravo channel. They had several chefs from really, really popular restaurants around the country. So they had some pretty good chefs up there. I was a little nervous. And a lot of the dishes that we saw were beautiful, different takes on seafood. And obviously, coming from different parts of the country, you have quite a few states that are landlocked and don't have an ocean nearby. So it was interesting to see there were a couple of states that were actually landlocked that still were able to bring in fresh seafood, whether wild or farm raised.
Yeah.
So they highlighted that. And, of course, naturally, the other states that are known for their seafood, they were all there. And they had top chefs from their states come in and represent their states. So it was an honor for us to participate. And, we were fortunate that the Lieutenant Governor of Louisiana reached out to the Lieutenant Governor, Josh Tenorio, and that invitation was passed on to the Micronesian chefs, where we picked up the ball and ran with it.
Well, I'm getting all kinds of notices on Facebook Live. Pam Duvall says, congratulations. And Ted from the Ranch, Teddy Nelson says, my favorite chef, Biba, and congratulations. And then, oh, my God, I'm hungry. And Sandra De Leon Guerrero says, wow, sounds yummy. Now, how are you making your way home? Says, we got Louisiana for the competition. Then you go up to Canada because we want to watch the salmon spawning. And I'm sure there's going to be some good salmon eating and drinking up there. Now, as you make your way westward back to the Western Pacific, will you be doing so on your stomach? Where are you going to be eating next?
Actually, we came to Vancouver, Canada, to do an eating tour. And, of course, we have the TV show Food Obsession. So we're actually filming Food Obsession here while we're here. And, we went to the public market in Granville Island, and one of the gentlemen there recommended for us to come and check out the salmon because it's spawning. And, man, it was a really, really good pointer for us to come up here. And we got some interesting footage, and that will also be featured in the Food Obsession. But primarily, we're here in Canada to do a food tour.
Okay.
We're here to eat. But then after here, we're going straight back to Guam from here. So
I see.
This was our side trip.
So after that, it's airplane food. After that, it's airplane food?
Oh, yeah. Well, us, we don't really eat on the airplane. We pick up something before we get on the airplane.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm fond of before I get on an airplane, I always swing by a 76 Circle K and get some of the Tabasco packets from the hot dog stand, and that's what I travel with. So it doesn't matter where I go or what somebody puts in front of me to eat. I can always make it taste like home with a little bit of Tabasco.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's the way it is.
We carry our dried boonie peppers with us.
Yep.
Dried powdered boonie pepper.
That's the way we do it. 9:21. Chef Peter Duenas, again, congratulations. Can hardly wait till you get back and throw up some pictures up on the Facebook. Leland, I haven't seen any pictures from Leland on Facebook, so make sure that the chef puts some of the postings up there, and can hardly wait to see what you guys come up with in terms of your video for Food Obsession.
Yeah. Leland's been quiet, but we'll let them say a quick hi.
Oh, yeah.
Half a day.
Hey, half a day. But you need to post some pictures. You're the king of the selfie.
Hey, thank you.
You're welcome. Now, the chef, Leland Fang, he's got more selfies with pretty girls on Facebook than I do. Were you able to get some pictures of pretty girls while you were traveling?
Yeah, we should. I'll be post soon when I come back.
Okay, very good. I'll be looking forward to that when you make your way back.
We're looking for something to eat right now.
Joe Carter.
Hey, Big Joe. Hey, amigo, how you doing?
Good. Kind of full right now.
You kind of full right now? Hey, just because I'm curious now, with the food, is anybody helping you pair that with different wines or different beers that are going with some of the food that you're getting up there in Vancouver?
Oh yeah, absolutely. A lot of the menus here come with wine pairings, and the food scene here is actually it's amazing here. They're right up there with Europe and the U.S. So there's a lot of good food finds here.
Yeah, well, and I guess the crazy thing is, that's where one of those places where you need somebody to do all kinds of reviewing, because it's easy to walk, into the wrong door and just the expectation that, yeah, it's going to be fancy, it's going to be, it's going to be hip, and then you get something that tastes like trail mix. So I think that it's nice to have a guide up there, isn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely. And then we kind of like to do our own research and also like to get lost, because we find some culinary treasures along the way when we get lost. So this morning we actually went into a cafe. It's called Cafe Jam, and we all had some interesting takes on breakfast items this morning, like biscuits and gravy topped with crispy pork belly.
Oh, that could. So and so I kind of asked Peter this question, but I'll ask you: is how much of this stuff that you're seeing out there is stuff that you want to bring back? Incorporate into what we do around here and in our restaurants in the food trade here.
Man, there's so much that you want to take back. You look around, you see what you got, you taste, and then you just try to bring some stuff that you learned out here or taste out here back home.
Well, yeah, and then the problem is, get those long airplane rides and try not to forget anything. Take lots and lots of pictures, guys. Hey, give Monica a kiss for me, and I'll see you guys when you come home. We'll have maybe a big get-together at the new place.
Okay, and one more thing, Ray.
Hey.
Let's wish Peter a happy birthday.
No way.
Birthday today.
Hey, happy birthday, Peter. Not bad. Happy birthday, Peter. Everybody go up on Facebook and say happy birthday. It's Peter and Monica Duenas on Facebook, right?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'll lead the way. I'll see if I can put a link up there. Anyway, so congratulations. I can hardly wait for the party when you return. The returning congratulations, Chef Peter Duenas party, okay?
Well, thanks, Ray. Thank you. And then we'll probably run the winning dish the third place winning dish as a special shortly after we get back.
Oh, yes.
A chance to try it out.
Yes, that would be good. Let me know. We'll try it out here in the radio station. We'll go down to the new place down in Grand Plaza. Try it down there.
Absolutely.
All right. Looking forward to it. Chef Peter Duenas, talk to you pretty soon. See you when you get back home on Guam. And yes, happy birthday. It's one of those things where, that is kind of cool. Here's our third place entry. And this was good for this big culinary competition. And, oh, by the way, come and try it. We have it in the restaurant. And what was it? What did he say it was? Crusted parrotfish with a mangrove crab. I forget the word that he used, something, but that sounded good.
I'm still stuck on the biscuits and gravy with pork belly. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? My blood pressure went up. Just
Yeah, but it's
thinking
two
about
great tastes that taste great together. But and every once in a while, you figure there might be one of those kind of home runs that somebody will hit. And who remembers back in the old days? You go to a restaurant. What do you want, steak or chicken, or fish? Those were the choices. And we make our steak like this, and we make our chicken like this, and we make our fish like this. And now it's everything is just it's the fusion of all of the different flavors, the fusion of all of the different cultural representations, because cornbread. What did he say it was? Biscuits and gravy.
Yeah, biscuits and gravy.
Which
with pork
is
belly.
With pork belly. I mean, what would you normally have biscuits and gravy with?
Pork belly. Yeah, bacon. I'd bacon that up, man.
Oh yeah. Bacon it up, but I mean, but pork belly, not bacon. Pork belly.
A little thicker.
A little thicker. Guys, you got me thinking about another restaurant. Now I'm thinking about lunch. Yeah, there's going to be the Hungries for you. 888-8255-888-TALK. I think that's great. So Ken LG has been posting on Facebook. He posted this morning his manifesto, the State of Our Island Address by the other Governor Leon Guerrero. That's Ken Leon Guerrero. And he sent me a copy of it yesterday, and I'm like, wow, this is 35 minutes long. I don't watch porno that goes 35 minutes. I'm just kidding. That's funny to me. That's my way of saying I don't do things I like for 35 minutes. Yeah. So I don't know that I'm going to want to get into a big, long, drawn-out State of the Island address for 35 minutes. I've been fortunate being able to do talk radio on this particular station that I don't need to get rounded up to go to the actual state of whatever addresses over at the legislature or the courthouse or any of that stuff. We'll leave that to the new guys now. Give me the Cliff Notes at the end. So that's what I've been bugging Ken about.
Right.
Is give me the Cliff Notes on your State of the Island address. Don't give me the 35-minute of it version. Give me like a trailer, like a Top Gun trailer, like a Zombieland 2 trailer, or whatever.
Well, the fact of it is, Ken is an eloquent guy and is good at writing stuff and spent a lot of time assembling 35 minutes worth of material. All of those words, and he could have just used one word. Broken.
Could have. But there's no sexiness in that. It's hard to. You need more of a 3-act play, I think, when we start talking about the issues that are in front of us right now, and that's why I was talking earlier about some of the things that the legislature is going to be up to today. And I'm going, I suppose in a version of the world that this could be some kind of important stuff, repatriating bodies of people that have died while they were off island. Sabina's got another one here relative to public awareness of radon risks and reporting of radon results upon sale of real property. Snooze. Yeah. And you know what I know about radon there, Sabina? The house that your folks live in was built prior to any kind of radon mitigation. There's nothing that prevents the gas from seeping up gases, maybe even the radioactive gases from seeping up the concrete. They didn't put moisture barriers, vapor barriers underneath the foundations of those houses because we didn't know any better back in those days. We know better now. And you know what? You can go and buy a radon test kit. You can get one, I think, from the EPA if you want to. And so I asked somebody about because I lived in a house like that, and I said, "What's the mitigation here? What do I do if I suspect I have radon in the house?" The guy said, "Open the window." The vapor comes in from here. Open the door over there. Open the window over there, and the breeze will take it up. So do that every once in a while, and you ought to be all right. And she's got another one relative to the regulation of PFASs in our drinking water. Which is another one of these things. We just know that it's bad, but we don't know is there anybody on Guam that's ever succumbed from it? Is there more that needs to be done, or is this going to be one of those things where we're going to find it virtually everywhere? We're going to have to shut down wells or find another way to get it out of our. I don't know. It just seems real early in the process on this PFAS hysteria. So I'm willing to wait out a little bit longer before we start knee-jerking into the legislation until we actually know a little bit more about how all of that stuff works. But getting to the talking about that 3-act play, all right? So you can't just come out and say it's broken. You got to say this is an example of it's broken. Here are examples, and here's how we fix it. This is what we're going to do to fix it. And it'd be pretty hard to do that, I think, on Guam with the current round of headlines that we've got and the current issues that we have to do that in less than about 34 minutes. But a trailer that pushes towards that 34, 35-minute discussion, well, that couldn't be so bad. I believe I have it set up and ready to play, but I'm not entirely 100% sure which button it is. So I'm going to make Mike push a couple of buttons and maybe even experiment with this for a second. It's 9:31, and that is iConnect time. Run to iConnect and ask them about maybe saving you some money on mobile and internet plans.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
Oh, it's a big old bag of food. It's the big bag. You said bacon. And this commercial has the word bacon in it. Wendy's has got the biggie bag of bacon, double stacked with a quarter pound of fresh beef for $5. Yeah, that's what that's going for $5. And you'd buy that at $5. Go, I'm happy. What? There's more? Yeah. The biggie bag, that's why I call it a biggie bag. It's got nuggets and fries and a drink and the burger for $5. You're feeling better now. You'll feel like a smart consumer when you go and get some of this stuff. The biggie bag. I keep wanting to say biggie booty at Wendy's.
The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts of Guam Training.
Somebody once told me that if I wanted to be a leader, one skill I would need is the ability to ask great questions. I'm Jerry Roberts, and at 7:20 a.m. on The Ray Gibson Show, we'll have a few you can use in your trip toward better leadership.
You can find daily transcripts of The Extra Point at guamtraining.com. Tune in every weekday morning at 7:20 for The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts. Brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and First Hawaiian Bank on 93.3 The Point.
Hey, Cheto, that's a nice picture you got up in Facebook with all your friends over at Dr. Chen's place. That's groovy. And you get this on Facebook, I'm sure, every once in a while. They do that Your Memories on Facebook where they find a picture that you posted from, I don't know, anywhere from a year to 10 years back for however long you've been on Facebook. And all this talk about food and the image that they gave me today, my memory on Facebook today is a... where did it go? It's a firecracker. It's one of those sushi things that they've got. And I want to say that you can get this at Sakura Kitchen, Sakura Dining. This is the one. And I remember exactly when this was. I'd posted it because it would be the second time that week that I had eaten a firecracker. They're that good, and I love the flavor, and I love to go and eat there. And when I do, if I'm not ordering anything else, that is usually sufficient for the meal. It almost never is. After that, I'll usually get like a spicy curry or something like that. But anyway, I digress. We were talking in a little bit about Ken LG and his State of the Island address. We're not going to play the entire State of the Island address as much as I wanted to give you a primer on it, as much as I wanted to give you the trailer version of the State of the Island address. So let me see if I can get this to play with this. Wow, it's drama. A variety of headlines. Pay increases. Lou, Esther. Criminals. Monies.
Guam is like a sinking ship. The captain, Leon Guerrero, and the senators are too busy rearranging the deck chairs to see the problems ahead. It's time for the people to step up and take control of the ship ourselves before it's too late. The future of Guam is too important for our children and grandchildren to leave it in the hands of politicians. Watch the State of the Island address at Guam C4PA on Facebook and GuamC4PA.org on the internet.
Was not bad. I think for the radio, it wasn't all that good because there's a lot of reliance on the video and imagery. But I think once Ken started talking, and in the background is the Titanic, and then one of my favorite references, rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. I've always loved that phrase ever since the first time I heard it. That's right up there with what, sweetie, I love you until Tarzan falls or until Niagara falls, one or the other. But I love. Turn of phrase. Yeah. Anyway, so not bad, Ken. Not bad at all. There's a longer version of that in his State of the Island address, and you're more than welcome to go and follow a variety of links that he talked about and get those on. So who's playing around? Coup d'etat. Is that what Chris Chip is talking about? Big Sister Shelley is online. Hey, it's my classmate, Flory Sanchez. Nice to see you there. Extra Point should attend the hearings at the legislature. You want to send Jerry to attend the hearings over at the legislature? What are they doing today? I've got the thing, don't I?
Yeah, it's a public hearing on St. Augustine's bill.
Which St. Augustine bill? Okay, I see it. An act making appropriations for the operations. Oh, this is the budget bill.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. So it's a hearing for the budget bill. This is the friends. This is it. This is the beginning of the disaster. You talk about the four horsemen of the apocalypse. This is what you can hear now in the background. This is it. Making appropriations for the operations of the executive, legislative, judicial branches of the government of Guam for fiscal year ending September 30th, 2020. Making other appropriations and establishing miscellaneous and administrative provisions. May I make a recommendation to you? I'm going to anyway. But the recommendation is read this budget. See if you can download a copy. I wouldn't print it out. 186-35. I would not print the thing out as much as download it and just kind of scan through it and see what pretend numbers.
You should only print it out on paper made from the Nelsoni tree.
Right. So, but get yourself a copy of this and just read it, and just kind of a note here. That I don't know that there's anybody over at the legislature that has any actual real experience putting the budget together. They've got guys for that. But there's going to be a little bit of reading in there. I almost always turn to the end when I get my hands on the budget. I almost always turn to the end because that's where the real mischief can get created. It's in the other sections, other appropriations, establishing miscellaneous and administrative provisions. That's where you can really, really monkey with the government of Guam. And so that's one of the places where I always look. Everybody's going to be, the governor deserves this much more money in her budget, or the Department of Education needs this, or we got to do more for the police department, Department of Corrections, or we need to kick up the revenues. There's always that. It's in the front part. That distracts you from the fun stuff that goes on the other side. I am a habitual chronic reader of the budgets. Now, I don't know, and as I said, I know I'm not going to print this thing out. I don't know how much time I want to give to this particular version of the budget because what will happen is everybody will get the budget and then they'll do one of these things. All right. Now, what we really want to see here, and then there's going to be all of this movement that's going to take place on the floor of the legislature, and it will not be pretty, and you will be out of your mind trying to watch all of it. But do what you can and try to stay with it as much as you possibly can, because again, there's a lot of different places where they can really, really monkey with our lives in this budget. So watch if you can as much of that process take place. I will again make a pitch for something that has annoyed me for about the last 3 or 4 years.
The butt ugly got off.
Oh, no, that's been bugging me for a long, long time. No, this is a fairly recent thing over at the legislature, and it has to do with the capabilities of communicating with a member of the legislature and communicating your thoughts and feelings about a particular measure, a particular bill in front of them, a particular somebody that needs to get vetted by the legislature, is you can do that by sending them messages on your WhatsApp or sending them messages in email and things like that. I believe that outside of urgent personal messages, there should not be any kind of ability to communicate with members of the legislature while they are in session. If you had a chance to go attend a public hearing on a measure, and that's it. You put it in writing or go down there and testify, but don't wait until the bill is in front of them and actually getting discussed on the floor of the legislature in session to tell them that you think that your department, agency, or your particular pet project with the government needs more attention.
Yeah, nothing really gets me worse than having them do public hearings and watching the guys sitting up on the benches up in front,
Looking at
sitting
their
there
phones.
looking at their phones and stuff. They should make them do like many people do a dinner. Put it in a basket. There is no phoning at the legislature. Put it in a little basket over there, or leave it in your house, or whatever you're going to do, and just don't have any
As I
phones
said,
involved.
nothing short of personal emergencies. There's no need to have that kind of thing out there. You're there to do the people's work and not play solitaire or you know what's the other game that everybody's playing these days?
Battleship?
Fortnite.
Oh, Fortnite.
942-888-8255-888 TALK. This just in from Jenna Bloss. Oh, there's a picture.
Ooh.
Let me see if I can download the picture and send it to the thing. Governor Leon Guerrero met at GHS/OCD, that's Homeland Security Civil Defense, to discuss plans in place for any flood impacts for the island and to receive a brief update from the National Weather Service about what is expected. NWS advises 2 to 3 inches of rain has already fallen each day, and an additional 1 to 2 inches is possible today. And as urgently as I can say it, in my urgent Willy Wonka voice, the ground is already saturated, causing flooding and overflow. As the monsoon trough continues across the Marianas, bringing heavy winds and rains, partner agencies are coming together to mitigate the effects as much as possible, to include the Mayor's Council of Guam, Homeland Security, Civil Defense, the Department of Public Works, Guam National Guard, and others as needed. In attendance were the Governor's Chief of Staff, Tony Babauta, Deputy Chief of Staff, John Jr. Calvo, former Mayor Robert Lizama, Acting Homeland Security Advisor, Jesse Mendiola, and Ken Artero. Right there. All there. Just briefing the dickens out of the weather
Did they
situation.
have that many people at a meeting the last typhoon we had? I don't think so. It's just rain, friend.
Yeah, it's this. We got to look like we're working, buddy.
I'm saying.
Gotta look like we're addressing these rain. It's like it's the first time rain has ever fallen on Guam in any kind of quantity.
Yeah, look, I'm the preparedness guy. Look, I'm in charge of a Facebook page that has 65,000 members on it just to get them words out, and here too as well. And I'm all for being prepared, but sometimes there's overkill. But yeah, we do need to be on top of at least the trouble spots. And there are plenty.
Well, yeah,
I'm
but
sure
we know that they're
still
the trouble spot. This is why this is funny to me. Most everything is funny to me these days, but this is why, in this case, it's funny to me because it's August. This was as predictable as turning the page on a calendar. We are now out of the end of summer, and it's going to be a rainy season. We knew it was coming. Frankly, there's a bunch of us that were surprised that it was taking as long as it did.
Oh yeah,
but it still was going to come. We were going to have a rainy season this year, and so now they're going, well, we better think about flood mitigation because it's raining. The time to think about flood mitigation was
this time last week.
Or 2 weeks ago, right? The weather's, you know what? We make hay while the sun shines. That's what the old lady always told me. Make hay while the sun shines. I don't know what it means because I'm not from farm country, but my guess is it probably means something along those lines. If you know that the weather is going to change, then you start thinking about hardening right then and there while the weather is still good. You don't wait until it's already flooded at Polaris Point to go and clean out the gutters. You don't wait until it's already flooding and we've got bamboo backed up for a half mile down in Mauricio before you go and do something about it. The time to have done the work is then. And we try to get in front of some of the issues that we've got around here. 99% of what we do at this radio station is in this building here. But there are 2 other buildings, and it wasn't that long ago that we started asking the questions. We got gasoline in a generator. Do I got diesel in the thing? Do I have oil in the thing? Is it ready to go? Because when it gets to be dark 30 on a dark and stormy night, I don't want to have to leave the comforts and the confines of my home to scramble up to Mount Ludum to pull the cord on the generator. And so we asked those questions before it started to get ugly. Now, that doesn't mean to say that everything is going to be 100%. you know, just means that we at least made the look into that direction. So that, as I said, is kind of amusing. Hey, let's start talking about the possibility that it might rain after it's already rained 4 to 5 inches every day. 9:46 in the morning, 888-8255. I've got printed out in front of me, although I don't know if I'm going to read the whole thing. The bunches of bills that come out of Jimmy Moylan's office relative to restrictions on expending government funds on wireless communications. The long loving look here is that the people that get cell phones in the government of Guam are paid enough that they should be able to pay for their own cell phones. Why did we make it so the governor of Guam and the mayor's council guy, all these other people, they got phones because, you know, they hold important positions. They're paid a lot of money, and that monthly salary ought to be able to go to pay for their own cell phone use. So I kind of like what he's talking about here in this measure, but frankly, I kind of like some of the things that they're working on, some of the other things, where basically they're saying, look, it's really nice that you want to have a liaison office in Washington, D.C., instead of that coming out of the general fund and taking money away from cops and teachers and nurses and doctors and Tom Shea's birthing center at Guam Memorial Hospital, how about it comes out of your budget over at the governor's office? If you want to have your own security detail, why don't you pay for that? Because, frankly, the overtime was killing GPD. So if you want, hire your own guys. But don't take them out of the ranks of the police department. Those guys should be on the road. Anthony's on the line. Good morning, Ant. Welcome to the program. Excuse the mess.
Good morning, Ray.
Hey.
Hey, my guy. I'm getting. I just want to chime in real quick. I'm making some beef shank soup, man, for this weather. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Somebody sent me a picture of their kadu this morning. Let me see if I can get that on the screen while you're talking about your shank. Go.
Well, anyway, no, it's the last minute, GDOE superintendent making more than $100,000 a year, and I just saw the Post newspaper headlines that they didn't even figure out the bus situation. You know, now it comes to the surface. You should have been thinking about that after the school ended, the last school year ended. Now it's all last minute and everybody's panicking.
Well, I don't, to the degree that anybody is thinking about it at all. You know, I talked about that for a little bit yesterday because that was a big headline. Is, hey, we're short of buses, we're short of drivers. And I said, yeah, what's new about that? That has been the case at the beginning of the school year since you and I were little boys.
Oh, yeah. Every year it's like this. That's all I have to say, Ray. Got to get back to my cooking.
Okay, Migo. I'll talk to you pretty soon. You enjoy the 3-alarm kadu day today that it's going to turn into and it's going to be like for the next couple of days. But that should not come as any kind of surprise to anybody. You know, the same way that it should come as no surprise. I had a clipping of a story yesterday about drug defendant Vasquez spared more jail time. One of the defendants charged in connection with the Mandania investigations in 2018, which involved guns, 10 grams of meth, 35 grams of cocaine. This person has been released from prison. Sonny Carl Laguardia Vasquez pled guilty to possession of Schedule II controlled substance with intent to deliver as a first-degree felony and illegal transfer of firearms as a third-degree felony before Superior Court Judge Anita Sokola. The remaining charges against him, which include possession of Schedule II, basically ICE, is a third-degree felony, 2 counts of possessions of firearms without a firearms identification card as a third-degree felony, 2 counts of possession of unregistered firearms as a third-degree felony, and illegal transfer of firearms as a third-degree. They dismissed all of those charges. No, we're not going to do that. He faced up to 5 years in prison and another $15,000 for the charges listed in the plea agreement. However, the plea agreement now called for a 1-year prison sentence with credit for time served and a $5,000 fine. And so here's another one of these guys that won the Sokola bingo. The court's going to go ahead and release you. You've done more than ample time that's called for in the plea agreement, but I want you to know, because she likes to get tough with these guys towards the end, you mess up, come in contact with the other co-actors, do more crimes, do not cooperate, you get up here to testify and change your story. They're going to come in here and ask me not to sentence you, but to charge you initially for the 5 years. I understand, Your Honor. So he still must cooperate with the government and testify against his co-defendants in the case. How does that happen, right? I mean, they got him on a pile of charges. I mean, it's this big. It's this stinking big. But we're going to plead out all of the little second and third degree misdemeanor things and allow you to go in as guilty on that one. And then we're going to suspend the sentence. But you do whatever you want to. You can do whatever you want to on Guam and get away with it. I don't know why I'm not in the meth business. I'll bet I'd be pretty good at it.
It's like the judges here think that the punishment is having the person stand in front of them and let him shake his finger at them.
Could be. Could be. I don't know. So that should not come as a surprise to you at all. You pick up a copy of the Daily Post today. We've got a couple more of these cases where it's clear we've got guys that have won the criminal justice lottery, commit a crime, and maybe do a little bit of inside time. You get credit for that, and we'll knock that against a suspended sentence, charge you $50 for the trouble, and get out of here and sin no more. I'm serious.
But you have to take a scolding. Got to take a judge's scolding.
I'm fine. I've been growled at in my life before. But so hook me up. Is somebody on Facebook Live? Where can I get some meth that I can deal? Because I could use the extra $1, right? I got a couple of credit card bills that I'd like to be able to take a whack at. I don't want to use my regular salary for that. So maybe if I could, augment my income with a little bit of methamphetamine dealing, I might be able to get myself out from under that. I want to paint the house this year too. It's too late now because it's rainy season, but I did want to paint the house, and I didn't have the money at the time during the dry season. Had I been dealing meth, I could have done that. And if I'd have been arrested by anybody in the Mandania Task Force or just driving down the street with a busted taillight, all I got to do is go to the judge and say, but, Your Honor, my daughter's going to Academy this year. It's expensive. Gotta buy new shoes. She has to have the cha time tea every day.
You have to buy toys for the puppy.
Mercy, ma'asi, please, and then go out there and send them more. Just a thought, because ain't nobody going to jail for meth on Guam. 9:53. Be right back.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on the Point. Half a day. I'm Rita Tidegly of Manila, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Ingatan ang iyong tahanan. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Mezcla Chamorro Fusion Bistro brings you island hospitality with a true taste of modern Chamorro cuisine. A bistro look that feels like home. Their menu features local and traditional flavors with a twist. From their famous Calaguan Hafa to fresh ahi poke salad and their award-winning barbecue ribs. Mezcla takes your favorite local dishes and serves them with extra flair that you'll only find at Mezcla Chamorro Fusion Bistro. Stop by their newest location in the Grand Plaza Hotel in Tumon. For reservations, call 969-2652. Mezcla, a true taste of Guam.
Wow, 9:54. Raymond Gibson Show on 93.3 The Point. How you doing there? You good? Are you good? I'm looking at the we got these glass blocks behind me, and it looks like it's starting to brighten up outside. You think maybe we might get just a taste of sunshine today there, weather guy?
I don't know if we'll see sunshine. Maybe. It may be a little bit of peek through there, but we are getting a bit of a break right now in the rainfall. I haven't looked at radar in like about the last 20 minutes.
Yeah,
but
I can look again.
We do have more coming up back behind the last one that came through.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, we're both going to be looking at the radar gizmo.
Yeah, there's a pretty strong line actually getting ready to come through in the next half hour. You'll see it. Here it comes.
And kabam! I see it. Yeah, You're right. It's already got those red and orange spots in there.
So
so figure
as good as it gets, I think.
Yeah, in the next half hour or so, I think we're going to see the cloud cover come back in, and there's going to be some rain and maybe even some thunder and lightning on the other side of that. 9:55 in the morning. So where else do we get to go today? What else have I been ignoring? There was a story that came out yesterday that I wanted to riff on here for a second, just because I thought it was amusing. San Francisco, the airport. Not the city. San Francisco Airport, which, by the way, is hands down one of the prettiest airports I've had the pleasure of flying into. I don't often go through San Francisco, but I thought it was nice the last time I had been in there. Wi-Fi and plenty of places to plug in your phone and get a charge and stuff like that. A couple of handy bars, too. couple of handy bars that they've got into place, to kill some time between now and then. I don't know. I want to say that San Francisco, the last time I was there, I flew in on something like a Delta flight, which meant that I was in the Delta section of the airport, but I was holding a United card to get into the lounge, and I wasn't able to do that. These are first world problems for travelers. This is why traveling sucks. At any rate, so San Francisco International to ban plastic water bottles. Obviously, it's, for the environment. So, and I don't know how many plastic water bottles they must go through in that particular airport. I don't know that I necessarily have a problem with it. It didn't come to me as an epiphany, but I remember a few months ago, I did, if I wanted fresh water, I'd just go to Home Depot and buy a bunch of containers of water, because they had good prices on that. And that way I always had something to make coffee with, cook rice with. And anyway, so I bought a water filter at the house and noticed that I don't have to take my trash out as often as I did before, because I have fewer of these plastic bottles. So I've been very careful about the reintroduction using plastic bottles in my life. So I see what's happening. But it opens my eyes up to one of the things. We're going to have to figure out how to take care of this. We need to have something to put the water in when we get to San Francisco Airport, or what a lot of people do is Hydro Flask. Do you have a Hydro Flask? Do you have a mechanism for? There you go. You've got your gizmo. I've got mine for coffee.
It looks like water, doesn't it?
It does look like water. You have me fooled all the time. I've got my little coffee flask here. That carries about 4 cups of coffee, and that's generally all I need for the rest of the day. I've got a couple of other of these that I use for water as often as I can, as often as I can remember. But it seems to me the solution to the problem is what we ought to do is maybe get the government to pay for it. There's going to be one of those airheads at the legislature that is listening right now and won't recognize that I'm being facetious. Everybody upon birth should be issued a Hydro Flask. When you're a baby, it's a little Hydro Flask baby bottle. And as you get older, obviously the bottles will get bigger, until pretty soon you're carrying around one that's about the size of, I don't know, a gallon container. Your gallon, you would graduate with this. It's like going to the public school system. We'll teach you mathematics. 1 + 1 = this, and then when you're a senior in high school, right, obviously it's still 1 + 1 = this. But we'd give you a bigger Hydro Flask, and that would be something from the government of Guam, and that way we never have to worry about plastic bottles. You want water? Put it in your Hydro Flask. Then that will be the thing, and then the turtles will be okay, and the dolphins will be okay, and everybody will be very, very happy. It's just that's my solution to the issue here, and I'm somewhat being facetious, but really I don't know what is to be done about that plastic bottles. I know in China, in some places in China, you can go to a brewery. And instead of giving you a 6-pack, individual 12-ounce containers, if you want to take a whole bunch of beer home, they'll take a plastic bag and they'll fill up the plastic, and you walk around with this big jug of plastic that's got beer in it. And I'm thinking that's the way to do it. The new place down in Agania, I tell you about Carabao, they will let you take home beer in a growler. And I don't know how many ounces that is. Last me a couple of days. But it's my favorite way to drink beer now. It's my favorite way to bring beer home. Not the most economical thing in the whole wide world, but it's nice. They've got a flavor that I like, and I don't have to worry about individual cans. I don't have to do individual bottles. I got a growler. Put it in my own glass. Heck, I might be able to put it in my coffee canister.
Makes it for a cool Facebook post, too. Look at me with my growler full of beer.
Yeah, well, there's another thing that I referred to as a growler, but I can't talk about that on the radio. I'll just tell you, she had a real nice one. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. We're KUSG Agania.
Offering help and support. I'm Lee Silasera, Fox News. The mayor of El Paso, Texas, says President Trump will visit the city Wednesday after 22 people